Nick.
Hey, Tys.
How are you, man?
I'm good, buddy.
What's going on?
Not a lot.
Not a lot?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to... let's
Let's
welcome.
start it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to NIC Tys and Videotape. It is very early in the morning.
It is. This is one of those magical episodes where we're recording and you will hear this almost immediately after we record it.
Almost live.
Almost live.
Almost live.
I know.
Yeah. Maybe one day we'll get to a live...
yeah, I think that would be really fun if we did a live episode once.
Yeah.
I think I'd love it.
And
I'd love to have like a chat window thing.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Like one of those ask me anything kind of style
ask Nick
things.
and Tys anything and then we ask it as a thing, yeah.
And then we don't answer a whole bunch of
the thing is,
inappropriately rude questions.
Everyone is at work right now.
No, good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Do you know what I mean? And we have to apologise because my partner in crime is a bit under the weather.
I am a bit under the weather. I'm a little sick. So you'll be
yeah.
able to hear the raspy tones of my...
The sexy raspy tones, yeah.
I need to start a little side business after this.
Remember 0055 numbers? Do they still exist?
I don't know. I don't watch television past 2 a.m. anymore. I can't remember. But God, those things used to crack me up.
0055.
Yeah. They were so...
I rang one when I was a kid.
Yeah, oh man, everyone rings one at least once.
And you get in trouble. You're like, Nick, what is this on the phone, Bill?
Oh, it was a competition line thing.
That wasn't me. That was my brother.
And I remember like this is a funny story, but you like someone answers, and you shit your pants.
And you shit your pants, yeah,
because it's like,
oh no,
and you just hang out again. And I was like, it's definitely real.
I know.
There's definitely people there.
And you think in your head, you're like, oh, my parents aren't going to be. It'll be fine because they'll see that I was on there for like 2 seconds. Yeah, it's not like I chatted to her about her boobs. Which is that what you do? I don't know. As a kid, you don't know.
As a kid, you're like, so do you have boobs?
What's your name? And then hang up.
That's it.
But
that cost you $17.
Yeah. So Tyson's going to go. He's got a side business. If you like the docile tones of Nick,
if you'd like me to read a storybook to you in my sexy voice,
that'd be nice.
That's $5.99 a minute.
Whoa, Jesus, that's intense.
I'm gonna make some coin while it's like this because it's not a long lasting ailment.
Exactly.
I only get like 3 days of it. Anyway, let's move.
Shall we?
Did we introduce the show? We did introduce the show.
We did introduce the show.
Today, we're talking about Looper.
We're talking about Looper.
2012, I think it was, Looper.
It was 12, yeah.
This movie's a mindfuck.
I love it.
Spoilers, it's going to be a bit of a love-in episode.
Yeah. Well, I love Ryan.
We're both big fans of this film.
Yeah, huge fans.
Also, some big news this week concerning Ryan Johnson, which I'm a bit excited about. Should we do a bit of news? News?
Yeah, let's do news. Yeah.
So, it broke... Okay, so this was floating around for a little while.
Go on.
Colin Trevorrow, who directed Jurassic World.
Yeah.
He was booked to do Star Wars Episode 9.
Right.
Which doesn't have a title yet or anything.
Yeah, no.
And everyone was a little bit kind of... No one was sold on that choice.
Yeah, I'm not.
I was never sold on it.
I didn't like Jurassic World.
The community as a whole, I don't think, was super into that choice.
Yeah.
And so you could tell, like, even from the get go, I reckon Lucasfilms were like, oh, is this maybe we haven't nailed this choice.
Yeah.
Because people went mad when they found out Ryan Johnson was going to be doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That's the thing.
What a great choice.
When you found out, this is what I remembered, when JJ did his and then Ryan was the next, I was like, fuck JJ, I'm waiting for Ryan's.
Well, I actually think they were both really great choices.
Great choices, but I was looking more forward to
you knew
Ryan's.
what kind of movie you were going to get with JJ, like a nostalgia fest, which I think it kind of needed to be that.
Absolutely.
And then this one, we know we're going to get a really kind of like cerebral kind of...
You're going to get an Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
You're going to get one that is just a bizarre movie that's set in the Star Wars world.
Yeah. And we know, like, based on his... Well, the small output of films he's had so far, we know that he isn't afraid to deal with heavy issues.
Yeah.
Like, and, even just by what he did in Brick, putting high school kids in very grown-up situations. Yeah. So we were all on board for that. And then everyone kind of went, Colin Trevorrow, though? Because Jurassic World is fine.
Exactly.
Like,
it's fine.
It's fun. I actually I quite like parts of that movie because I think there's some really fun ideas in it, and I have a really good time. And I like I like everything basically to do with Chris Pratt's character.
Yeah.
I think
I agree. I just feel
really
that Colin Trevorrow is a bit... He's the new Brett Ratner for me.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense?
No, he's not quite there for me yet.
Yeah,
because he's only had a bit of indie kind of stuff before Jurassic World. So, but then again, so you could say the same about Ryan Johnson, I guess. But anyway, so long story short, the Lucasfilm has listened to the internet. Colin Trevorrow directed a film recently that got fucking caned.
Yep.
And suddenly everyone was like, this is what we were worried about.
Yep.
We don't want him handling our Star Wars film.
And then
the announcement came.
Get the fuck
we
out.
have parted ways due to creative differences, which is Disney's nice way of saying we sacked this dude because we got cold feet. We knew what we figured out what we'd get. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, they're banking on the fact that because Jurassic World did some big money.
Huge money.
Big money. And that's what they thought that they were getting. They thought, well, if it's clearly the director, but no, it's not the director. It was
never the director.
It was the series. Yeah. People had been waiting for a decent Jurassic Park to come out, and bang, they got it. And it was just the right time. It was kind of in a kind of a nothing time. Well, actually, no, it wasn't in a nothing time. It was in a time when it was either superheroes or nothing, and people wanted some action that was different.
Yeah, and I think it was just good enough that. People could walk out and say and recommend it.
Yeah.
And that was enough. Like, people could legitimately come out and say, hey, I had a really good time.
Yeah.
It's not at the level of the first one.
No.
But, it's probably as good as the second or the third.
Sure.
And so you have a good time.
Yeah.
Like, come out and just enjoy it. And that people went, okay, well, it's not a piece of shit, and I love Jurassic Park, so let's go check it out.
Let's go have a look.
It had nothing to do with him. I think.
No, it didn't. It could have been.
It could have been anybody.
Anyone could have directed
that film.
Brett Ratner.
It could have been Brett Ratner. Like, there is nothing. There was no personal touch to that film.
No.
There was nothing that made you think you were seeing a director's vision.
Yes,
it was just
exactly.
It was just a big fucking movie.
Which is from watching Looper. It is his vision. You can see that what he 100%. Wants and how he has storyboarded this thing to have a certain.
But this has led to internet speculation because initially, when Rian Johnson was announced for 8, they hadn't announced anyone for 9 yet.
Yeah.
And he apparently wanted the double gig.
He wanted the double gig.
Fuck yeah. So I think now
they're going, well...
apparently they are in love with what he's done on The Last Jedi. So he might be getting... He might be doing the last 2, which would be really great. Yeah. Well, we haven't seen The Last Jedi yet, so maybe he drops the ball. Who fucking knows? But
I very much doubt it.
I very much doubt it too. But that's our neurals.
So nice. I was actually... I was going to bring that up. That's awesome.
Why don't we move on to...
Talking trailers. Let's talk some trailers. Yeah?
Everybody's talking trailers.
So, all right. We got a few. We're going to knock out a few this week because we had a good week. We had a good trailer week.
We had a boss. This is what we're talking about. We had a boss week.
We've had shit
Everything
weeks,
came out.
But with this one, but not like huge movies, just quite a few interesting movies, and even some that we're not even going to talk about at all that I'm kind of keen to watch.
Yeah. But the fact that we're coming up because this is the month before October, we just had just a smashing of horror movies. Temple, Insidious, trailer, sorry. Temple, Insidious 4, Jeepers Creepers 3, Crucifixion, Friend Request, that when Facebook comes and fucks you up, and Ghost House. That's 6 horror movies that have been trailered to come out.
What's Ghost House?
Oh, it looks like shit.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
Actually, no. I take that back. Ghost House is the one that... Ghost House and Temple... you know what it is? Japanese horror scares the fuck out of me.
Yeah, sure.
Japanese horror...
Something about
it is something about it.
Young Japanese girl with wet hair in a white fucking.
But it's not even that. So Ghost House. I'll tell you quickly the premise of Ghost House. I just want to go quickly. It's stupid American tourists go to a village in Japan and they go, we've never been to the. Oh no, this is Temple. I'm thinking about. Fuck. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it. They go to this village and they're like, we're going to go to this temple. You know, it's old and they've got this old map and things like that. And they talk to the villagers and they're like, maybe not. And they get toured by guys who are like Swedish.
Okay.
Or have been in the town for a while. Like, we'll show you. And they go and it's just it's a bizarre, scary graveyard of a town. And the Swedish guy goes, look, there's a little doll. You should take that. And you can kind of see that he's got sinister intentions. He's like, you should take that little doll figurine from that temple thing.
No, don't do that.
And she takes it and they bolt. The Swedish guys bolt just to see what happens to them. And this monster thing comes out. I
didn't watch this one.
Fucking scary as hell.
I must have thought I did.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch that immediately after this. That sounds really fun.
Scary.
I'll tell you, just very briefly.
Go on.
That Insidious 4 trailer.
I didn't actually mind that.
Me neither.
Yeah. And I've seen 1, 2, and 3.
I have not. Yeah. I have seen 1.
You've seen 1?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I don't even think I've seen all of 1. That was one of those I caught maybe the last 3 quarters of it.
Oh, dude.
because I enjoyed it, and I know it. Like I like the universe of that film, of that film series. I like what they're doing. I like the whole idea of this kind of, you can go into like, what do they call it, the further or whatever, and that's where kind of shit goes down.
Goes happen,
I like
and they have
but
to
the
do
first scene of that trailer with the thing putting the key in the girl's neck was really cool.
That was fucked up.
Yeah,
that was scary as hell.
And points to this fucking movie series for making its now protagonist a like 70-year-old woman.
Yeah, man, Lin Shaye. Like, fuck yeah.
What other movies? Like, what other series? This is a recurring series of films.
Yep.
That has now made its main character and its through line. Every film has her in it, doesn't it?
Yep, absolutely.
And her little ghost cronies who are dead, because this is a prequel. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Did they die? No, you've seen them in this. So Lee Wignall.
Lee Winnell and Angus
Sampson, the Australian champ.
The Australian guys.
Yeah.
Lee Winnell, I remember from Recovery days. Remember, he was the movie reviewer of Recovery.
Was he?
Yep. Oh. And I've met him. He seems like a very lovely guy.
I just remember him because it was him. It was the Saw guys. Him and James
Wan.
And
James Wan is still producing these.
Yeah, yeah.
Lee Winnell's written this one. I don't know. I didn't know the director. I didn't recognize his name.
No, neither did I. But I just loved it. Like him in Saw. Everyone was like, yeah, but don't you think he's the weak link? Like, isn't
he can't act.
And I'm like, no, but that's the thing. In my head, I'm like, no, fuck you. He's from Melbourne. He's doing his fucking best. As if you would put yourself in that fucking movie.
No, I've got no qualms with him being in that movie, but like,
you don't think
there's no bones. He's not an actor.
He's not an actor. No.
But he writes the fuck out of those movies, man.
Exactly.
He's got some really cool ideas.
But I love him and Angus's characters in the Insidious world. Like, I love their kind of polar opposite and how they work together. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, Lin Shaye, man. Awesome.
Yeah, kudos to them. Yeah. Anyway, so these aren't the trailers we're going to talk about.
No, not at all.
Why don't we?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, we're trying to smash out two each.
All right.
So there was a Netflix original trailer that dropped for a Stephen King book that was apparently unfilmable, and we're going to give it a good crack. It's called Gerald's Game.
Yep.
I just recently bought the book because I saw it cheap at one of those fucking bookstores at Northies.
Oh yeah.
And I'm really keen.
This looks insane.
For this film.
This looks
for a couple of reasons.
insane.
Mike Flanagan is directing it. Mike Flanagan did Oculus, Hush. And this movie that is yet to be seen overseas, but we already have it on Blu-ray, and so I want to buy it because
why do we have it on
well, apparently there's all these distribution fucking sagas in the States where so it's wrapped up in kind of, business fuckery at the moment. So no one in the States can see it yet. It did its festival circuit, but it has no general release.
Okay.
Whereas that doesn't affect us here. So fucking somebody has put it out and just been like, here you go, just chuck it straight to DVD. It's called Before I Wake.
Right.
It's got Thomas Jane in it, I think.
Oh, Thomas Jane.
Or Aaron Eckhart. Hang on.
One of the Punishers.
Yeah.
No, one of the comic book guys.
I
get them mixed up as well.
Yeah,
I really
do. They're blonde, like reasonably tough men.
Yeah, everyday men.
They've got similar faces too.
What was it called again?
Before I Wake. I think it's Thomas Jane. And it seems to be about a kid that can manifest his nightmares.
It is Thomas Jane.
There you go. And apparently it's really great, but no one overseas has seen it, so I really want to watch it.
Okay.
But yeah, I loved Oculus. I thought it was really, really great. And Hush was cool.
I liked Hush. Yeah.
So he's directing this. I think it's like that gives it some kudos straight away.
Yeah.
It's Carla Gugino.
I don't know how to say
her name. From heaps of stuff.
Yep.
Spy Kids movies, Sin City. She's great. Usually she's really, really solid.
Yeah.
And it's a story about a romantic...
Who's he? I know him.
Yeah, he's from heaps of shit.
He's from tons of stuff.
Yeah, I can't remember his name right now.
Henry Thomas?
My
Is
brain.
it Henry Thomas? Yeah. No? Bruce Greenwood.
Bruce Greenwood, that's it, yeah.
He's the captain from Star Trek.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like
original
heaps
captain.
of shit, that guy.
Yeah.
I fucking love him. He's ripped, by the way. Like, he's fit
the
for
man is huge.
Anyways,
I was like, what the fuck?
It's about a married couple, into their, like, they look like they're probably in their late 40s.
Sure, mid-40s.
Who are hitting like a secluded cabin to try and kind of reinvigorate their romance.
Well, I don't think it's that. It's just get away for a bit.
Well, it feels like there's an undercurrent of we're going to try and,
we're going to go
we're
away
going to
and
inject
fuck a lot.
our marriage with a bit of a spark. Yes, we're going to have a bunch of sex. And part of that involves he cracks out the handcuffs to be a bit kind of raunchy.
Yeah, let's do it.
So he handcuffs her and blah, blah, blah. And she's not super into it, and they have a bit of an argument, which leads to him, unfortunately, having a heart attack and dropping dead. Now, this is the funny thing.
What the fuck?
As far as I know, and I'll have to double check, in the book, he actually dies on top of her.
Right.
And so a whole bunch of the movie is her having to deal with all this while the corpse is physically on her. Anyway, that doesn't happen in this. He just drops to the floor.
That we know of.
Yeah. Anyway, so what starts off and you think, oh yeah, cool. So it's a kind of like, it's one of those survival movies where it's like, okay, how is she going to get out of here before she dies?
How is she going to 127 hours?
But what ends up happening is that they're, being Stephen King, it ends up kind of mixing in a supernatural element with it all, which you don't know whether or not it's her crumbling brain because she's can't eat or drink and who knows how long she's been there, or if there are actual supernatural things afoot.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks fucking great.
It looks completely boss. Yeah. I just watched it about 5 minutes ago and I'm in. I'm
so in. I'm going to hopefully be able to smash the book before then because I think it's sitting on my fucking wardrobe floor, still in the bag that I bought it in.
Still in the bag.
But I got to crack it out and get it. It's part of my goal to purchase every Stephen King book that exists. I want to have my complete Stephen King collection.
Really?
Yeah. So that when I'm old and all I've got to do in life is read.
You're just going to read Stephen King? I'm going to read every Stephen King book. And have a fucking bunch of nightmares. Yep. That is fucking scary as hell to me. Can I just say something?
Yes.
Mr. King is fucking raking it in at the moment.
Yeah, he's having a good little patch of time.
It is a recurrence. Yeah. Like it happened in the 90s, like mid-90s, where it was like Langoliers, and then they did another version of...
They're also awful, those things, though.
And then... Was it Thinner? Was he a... That was a Stephen King?
That was based on one of his... I think that was based on one of the Richard Bachman ones, I think, actually.
And now we're just having a massive
we're writing a big resurgence.
Man.
And funnily enough, it actually... Like, it never really goes away. Like, every now and then, like... Because we had, for instance, we had, like, that... What was it called? Room 237? The John Cusack...
Oh, yes.
One.
I
Is
remember
that called
that.
Room 2... No.
No, you're thinking... That's the doco about
what's
The Shining.
1408.
1408. That was... I liked that.
So, yeah,
the premise of that movie was
good.
Occasional
little kind of...
gems.
Oh, this is based on a blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and then we had this patch of, like... It started with, like... There was that A Good Marriage as well. There was the one that was...
Good Marriage.
It's, what's her name? Joan Allen and Anthony LaPaglia.
Oh, yeah.
It's a really great short story about a woman that suddenly discovers while trying to find something in her husband's garage that he's actually, like... a fucking serial killer from the 80s.
What?
And she's been happily married to him all this time. Yeah, and that was apparently not very good. But, you get these kind of... All of a sudden the ball starts rolling again, and then this year it's just gone fucking...
Boom.
Crazy.
Tower, everything.
And people are really excited about that stuff again. Like, people are really, like, pumped for Stephen King stuff again.
Yeah.
Which makes me happy because I fucking love him.
Please.
So that looks really good. Netflix original, which means we can sit on our butts and watch it in the comfort of our own homes. Although I said that about What Happened to Monday, and it has yet to turn up on our Netflix for some fucking reason.
Because we live in Australia, and for some reason,
but this is not
Netflix
meant to be how
us.
Netflix originals are meant to go worldwide.
That's
and it
true,
had a worldwide release date. It popped. I even checked like Australian releasings, and it popped up. It said it was going to be out. It just hasn't turned up.
So the US got?
Yeah, people have been talking about it,
motherfucker,
and we just haven't got it. And I don't understand why. And I've even tried to Google to see if anyone else has like written something about it, and why hasn't Australia got What Happened to Monday, blah, 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 nothing.
I'm going to tweet them. I'm going to tweet Netflix Australia.
Can you?
Dude, where
yeah, because I don't use Twitter. I tried to get on their Facebook page to ask, but I couldn't find... You know how sometimes companies hide really well?
Yeah,
where
all
to
the way
write
down the bottom and...
visitor posts. Yeah. They hide them, and I'm like, you fuckers.
Yeah.
And because the Netflix Australia, I don't know if you've noticed, the Netflix Australia Facebook page... I think is a scam.
Oh, really?
I don't think it's actually run by Netflix Australia. I think it might be a bit dodgy.
Oh, maybe I should look at the Netflix Twitter then, Australia Twitter, because... fuck. Why do we suck? Why does our country just suck sometimes?
Yeah, we do.
Because we're in the outback.
Yeah, no one gives a fuck about us, mate. We're in the outback.
No, there's just a couple of racists out there, man. You don't want to borrow them.
We're just fucking...
Jesus Christ.
Two wombats fucking on bicycles powering our electricity.
That is the new nickname of a Nick Tyson videotape. We are called Two Wombats and Movies. No, what's an Australian way to say movie? Flick.
At the pictures.
No, pictures.
At the pictures. That's what my nan used to call it.
I used to call it the pictures when I was a kid.
Yeah.
All right then.
What do you got?
I would like to talk about something that's fucking dark as hell. Yeah. So it was called. Well, it has two titles. It's You Were Never Really Here. And then it's called A Beautiful Day in Paris.
Yeah, so maybe it might be kind of international. You never know. Sometimes we get it's hard for us. Sometimes you can't tell which title we're going to get.
And sometimes Australia gets its own title.
Yeah, that's happened before.
Yeah, but yeah, it's Joaquin Phoenix plays a brutal enforcer that someone pays him to bring back his girl. So it's very similar to Taken, but this looks beyond.
Yeah, so he looks like he looks like he's like a real fucking rough as guts.
Yeah.
No kind of moral fiber dude.
Exactly. So instead of a good father with a particular set of skills, Phoenix plays a character that just looks like he's just as sinister as the men that he's coming after, almost. And with just the little glimpses of things that are happening through his life that you see in this trailer, it just draws me in because it's Taken, but it's almost like I got a really Gaspar Noé. Feel to it.
Yeah,
it's really rough.
It's funny.
Really
dark. I got a bit of Winding Refn from it as well.
Yeah, especially with that soundtrack in the background.
And there was occasional little neon flashes and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah.
And I loved through this trailer just the little quick cuts that you got of just his life and what's happening.
Yeah, it looks like he's kind of had a bit of a fucked up upbringing. But it also looks like it's kind of got that redemption thing running through it. Where I think I was getting the vibe like his task to save this girl ends up kind of redeeming
him. Exactly. Yeah.
So that, and that's tale as old as time.
But yeah, it looked
but yeah, like so. Yeah. But I'm in for that kind of shit. I like seeing
it looks really good. It looks really dark, and Joaquin looks really at home in this role. He looks like he's something he can see.
He looks like how he did in I'm Not Here.
Yeah,
except like fit.
Actually acting, yeah.
Like he had the big dirty beard and he was quite like he's very built, but he looks like he'd fuck you up.
Yeah.
Whereas in I'm Not Here, he just looked like a sack of shit.
Fucking horrible bastard. But yeah, it looks awesome. It looks really awesome.
Yeah, great. I'll be on that. All right.
That was quick. I like that.
Yeah, we're going to smash through this.
Yeah.
So the other one I want to talk about, Blade of the Immortal.
Oh, jeez.
I want to talk about.
Man, that was intense.
Which looks like a really kind of fun. It's based on a manga. And
Blade of the Immortal.
It looks like just bonkers, balls to the wall, crazy ninja fuckery. What's really interesting about this movie is that it is the 100th movie of, and I'm going to say his name wrong, Takashi Miike.
Intense, man. 100.
Now, this guy he's not even 60, right? And he has this is his 100th movie.
Yeah, man.
And look, I'm not even going to get close to seeing all his films in my lifetime.
That's not true. You could punch him out.
What have I seen? I've seen 13 Assassins, which was fucking awesome. I absolutely loved that film from about 5 or 6 years ago. I've seen Sukiyaki Western Django, which is super fun, ridiculous amount of fun. God, what else? But this is the guy that, like some of these movies you would never have heard of, but then he's done stuff like Audition, which is this mental horror film that everyone talks about. Jesus. It's got some really fucked up stuff in it. He did Ichi the Killer, which is kind of
that's what I've
Visit
seen.
a Q. These films have got reputations, have been, really messed up but great films.
He did 7 films in 1999. Fuck me.
It's
that
mental.
Makes me turn around to fucking to David Fincher and go, dude, one a year? Come on. What the fuck?
Barely. If we get one a year, we're lucky.
Exactly.
So, and this is what's amazing is that it's not like he's not like a UA bowl just cracking out shit either.
No, it looks
like he
good.
makes some bad movies, don't get me wrong.
Sure.
Some of them aren't always going to work out, but he's also made some like legitimate classics.
Detective Story, he did that. That's good.
So, like, that I think needs to be celebrated. He's probably the hardest working guy in all of fucking cinema, really, when you think about it.
Shit.
And so I'm excited to watch this one because it looks right up my alley. Like, some of his movies, you watch the trailer for and you're like, yeah, I don't need to, that's not my thing.
The font breaking onto the screen like that, with the 100th movie, and like, it looks so boss.
Yeah, I really
awesome.
like the look of it. Yeah. I'm going to be all over that. Violent, fun, silly.
Yeah. With a badass story.
Yeah.
Of a guy who literally can't die.
Literally cannot die. When he gets chopped up, his limbs reattach themselves.
A bit of funny him trying to get his hand back from the
exactly.
tree.
There's like little bits of kind of slapstick humor and stuff in it. I'm keen. I think it's going to be really great. Based on especially because 13 Assassins was the most recent thing I've seen by Takeshi Miike.
Yeah.
And he directs the fuck out of an action sequence.
Really?
That the last hour of that movie, it's a long movie, it's probably close to 3 hours, but the last hour is essentially the battle.
Right.
And it's so incredibly good. So yeah, I have no doubt it's going to be really something to look at.
That's awesome.
My voice is getting really, really bad as we go on. Wow.
That's all right. We'll keep trudging. Okay. The next one I want to talk about is, what is it? Oh, The Snowman. That's right.
Yes, The Snowman. So Snowman or The Snowman? I feel like that's like the name
Snowman?
of that's the name of a guy who owns like the local amenities store.
The Snowman.
I've got to go visit Mr. Joe Snowman.
The Snowmobile. No. Directed by Thomas Alfredson. I want to say that right. Alfredson. He did Let the Right One In and Tinker Tailor. But this looks intense. I love the 2 thrillers that we're getting. There's 3 now that are coming out that are very detective investigates a serial killer. But this looks really intense. This looks, and that's why I was kind of drawn to it, because of the Alfredson kind of feel to it as a director. It has that Swedish feel to it as Let the Right One In did. Very distant, a lot in the snow, making it very bleak and things like that. And this killer looks very different. It's funny how
you can
different.
just set something in the snow and it has that feeling.
Bleak fuck.
No, but even like the Swedish element to it, like, because I get what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean?
And I don't. That seems. How can just snow create that environment? But you're right, it does.
It does, because it's the snow with the architecture and the shots that he uses. Do you remember the shot in Let the Right One In of he wasn't even the father of the little girl, and he was hacking the fucking neck off. He had hung up the body in a tree to bleed it out into a bucket.
Yeah.
He hacked it, and the guy just pans back and then just lets it. All you're hearing is the blood drip from the neck of this thing. Yeah. And he just lets it sit. And I'm like, this is just bleak in a different way. Not depressing.
Yeah,
bleak.
snow adds a kind of it adds that kind of isolation, I guess, as well.
But yeah,
there's obviously a feeling. There's something about the cold that just makes it makes you more uncomfortable as well. I think in those kind of circumstances, it's a clever way to set a thriller. I think it immediately creates discomfort.
Absolutely.
So that's
no one likes being cold.
Well, I don't mind being cold.
I
prefer it over being hot.
It's because you can get warm. You can get warm. You can't get
yeah.
But yeah, stellar cast: Rebecca Ferguson, Val Kilmer,
Big Val,
yeah, Big Val, Chloe Savini, J.K. Simmons. Oh, I love J.K.
Love J.K.
And Toby Jones. I love
Toby Jones. It's like what's wrong with everyone's favorite Toby Jones.
Toby Jones.
Yeah, that
guy.
Little
short man. But yeah, it looks intense, and the trailer didn't. I was looking for who the serial killer was in the trailer.
Sure.
I was like, oh, maybe it's JK. Oh, maybe it's Toby. But the fact that you didn't see Val, I was like, oh, damn it. But it looked intense.
What's with the mask made out of snow? How does that happen?
I have no idea.
How would someone do that? Or is that how they find the corpses with the snow on their head?
No, they find the corpses wrapped in a snowman.
That's right.
Yeah. And the killer starts leaving snowmen around.
That's pretty.
Detective
that takes a bit of forethought, doesn't it?
How are you going to strap him up?
Yeah, it's like, well, what holds him up while he builds the snow around it?
Yeah. Maybe he sticks a pole in.
Oh. Like old school, like medieval torture. Like, what do you call that when you used to stick the pole all the way through the mouth and down to the ground?
I don't know.
Maybe he does that with him and then builds the snow up around them and then takes the pole out at the end.
Oh, that's messed up.
I'm just trying to think logistics here.
We can't. The snowmen don't have arms. So I was thinking crucifixion, but you can't do that. The snowmen don't have arms. Otherwise,
they're tucked in.
They're tucked in. It looks good.
Yes. For all these answers and more, tune into The Snowman.
Tune into The Snowman, coming out in cinemas October 19th.
There you go. That was our ad. The check's in the mail.
There you go. But that was it. Jeez, we had a lot. I could talk about so many more.
Yeah, I liked the current war. That looked kind of cool.
That looked really
the Edison versus Westinghouse thing.
Yeah, man.
What else was there? There was this jungle trailer with Daniel Radcliffe. There was fucking...
there was Lady Bird, the little indie movie.
Yep.
That looked really cool.
So it's a good week. Which means next week it'll be a shit week and we'll have nothing to talk about.
So fuck. God damn it. Fuck it.
Why don't we move on? Hey, Nick.
Ooh.
What did you watch this week?
We're leaving it at that. Tyson, I went and saw last night. I saw Stephen King's the remake of It.
Ooh.
Holy shit!
Here we go.
Balls.
This is how you can tell it's a fresh episode. You're getting it straight away because it only was released yesterday for Australians. And you're getting early review
from
hot
Nick.
Hot off the presses.
But let me tell you, Tys, just the setup. We saw it gold class at fucking 4 in the Arvo.
Yeah, oh man, I'm seeing it during the day.
And there was no one in the fucking cinema.
You're kidding me.
I was like, babe.
Are you serious? You're the only people in there.
We were the only people.
Jealous.
And it was intense. We got to move seats in gold class.
That's so good.
That's intense. Does the US have gold class?
They'd have something similar to that. Similar?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course, because they have VIP at all that. Anyway. So for starters, we moved seats. That was awesome.
Better seats.
Nick put us a little bit too close.
Oh,
it was normally in a gold class cinema, you sit wherever and you're kind of okay.
Yeah.
This screen was actually quite close, and I'm like, oh, this is.
Yeah, I've done that before.
Okay. Tys, this was intense.
Yeah.
This was really good, really good. So the reason. I had high expectations as well going in. Like we said at the start of looking forward to things of 2017. This was the top. This is one of the top ones for me. And out of anything that can be remade, this was begging to be remade.
Yeah.
This is something that, they could really put a different spin on, something new and something fresh. And that's totally what they did.
Great.
Because it was equal parts refreshing new take on the story. But also it kept to the director, because this went through development hell.
Yeah,
there was a lot of actors who were playing Pennywise at one point, and
different directors attached, different writers.
But this guy, Andy, I can't say that, Muschietti.
I think you pronounce it Muschietti.
Yeah. For starters, he knows horror. If you've seen Mama, he did Mama.
I haven't seen Mama, no, but I've
Jesus fucking Christ, that was scary as hell.
Yeah, right.
So he absolutely knows what he's doing. But the best thing is, what I read was he saw the script that they had and said, I understand that you guys want to bring something fresh, but we have to stick to the book, because if we don't stick to the book, you guys are going to kill. You're not going to get out of the water. This thing's going to do fuck all money. And so he brought back in certain things that the book has. Which is so awesome.
That's what you want.
So you felt connected to every character. The kids were awesome in every single way, especially with their personal issues with their families.
Oh yeah.
Was when I don't want to say too much because Tyson's going to see it on Saturday, but really, really good. And the scary elements of this were intense, and they were not predictable, which is what I wanted.
Yeah, awesome.
There wasn't anything where I was like, oh, run, run. I wasn't doing that in my head.
Sure.
The one thing, I don't want to talk about Pennywise.
Okay.
Because I don't want to say anything.
Sure.
I want other people to go in, because the other thing that I read is that what was his name? Bill. He's a Skarsgård. Bill. He was a fan of the original.
Yeah,
he said,
right.
I'm not going to beat Tim Curry.
Sure.
Because the bar is so fucking high.
Yeah.
There's no point me even trying. So he did something different. He did the Heath Ledger, and I'm not saying that it's.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, my only... Oh, no, I don't want to do a gripe because you haven't seen it yet.
You can do a gripe.
Can I do a gripe?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. He loves practical effects, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Keep those practical effects in there.
Yeah.
Just a little touch too much CG.
Just
around Pennywise.
Yeah.
Just around Pennywise.
That is the complaint I've heard. I was going to ask you about that.
Because the reason that it is scary, even the miniseries still keeps this at some level. The reason that I feel is scary is because of how scared people are of clowns. You don't have to do anything else. Let it just sit.
The way he looks in the trailer is enough.
Yeah, just let it sit. And one of my favorite scenes in the miniseries, it literally takes 2 seconds for this to happen, is when Ben is riding his bike past one of the drains or something, and it's way off in the distance, and it's just Pennywise holding, I think it's 1 balloon or 2 balloons.
Yeah.
And he's just waving.
Sure.
And that's it. And it just holds. Just hold on that scene.
Yeah.
And with time, it gets fucking scarier. So there were a couple of those, but yeah, I would have liked a little bit more of that.
Sure, I get what you're saying.
But what else was there?
Well, yeah, I can't wait to see it. Well, actually, it's funny because I'm in one of those situations where I'm like, I want to see it because I want to experience it, but I don't know if I want to see it at the same time because I don't know if I can handle it.
Yeah. Be brave.
It's kind of because, and I've teed it up with a good friend of mine.
Oh, good.
Oh, a friend of the podcast, Katie Weston, who is the guest host. We're going to be going to see it together, and there's going to be much screaming and panicked, and hopefully we can help each other through it.
Yeah.
If possible.
Hopefully so one of my favourite things, and it's a must, especially if I watch a movie in my house, not really right now because I have a little one, but if I'm watching a scary movie, it has to be up to a certain level, loud-wise.
Yeah, sure.
So if something scary happens, bang, I'm like, fuck me, Jesus, and they turn this, the ads before the movie came on were too loud.
Right.
So I was like, this is going to be awesome.
It's going to kick it.
So I jumped twice. That never happens to me. I was like, fucking Jesus.
I'm going to jump like every 30 seconds.
No, but there's not... A lot of people had gripes because there wasn't a lot of jump scares. That's not what this movie is about. This movie is not about jump scares. But the 2 times that it happened to me, Tys, you're fucked.
Yeah,
Seriously. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I will give a little hint to everyone.
Yep.
Just the Easter egg hunt.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say.
That's good. No, but I'm glad I've got an idea in my head to prepare myself.
Yeah.
Because I'll be like, oh, fuck, this is what Nick talked about. I'm going to be staring into my popcorn for a second.
No, stare at the screen. Come on, you can do it. Be brave. Oh, fuck.
I can't even watch the trailer without having to like look away for a second.
Oh, really?
There's that one bit where he jumps off like a dresser and runs towards the camera with his hands out and the camera shakes a little bit.
Yeah.
I can't
it's full
stare
on.
straight at that in the trailer.
It's full on.
It gives me like this weird kind of chill.
I can't wait to see it again. I really can't.
No, that's good.
I want to see it again.
That's good.
Especially for the start with Georgie. Fuck.
Yeah.
This thing is...
And, hey, just like... I'm just excited that it's a studio-made, big-budget horror film based on the work of my favourite author.
Yeah, man.
And
it's got so much hype.
And it's hyped to shit.
Yeah, man.
I'm really excited that people are getting excited about this kind of stuff.
Did you see the ads that they did in Sydney for this thing?
Yeah, they had the balloons coming out
the drain.
And that's awesome.
It's
awesome. It's awesome that this is happening for, that's genre films and like horror films especially kind of get a bad rap as being like lesser entertainment.
Yeah.
And that's not cool. That's not the way it should be at all.
Absolutely not.
Because you can, these... it's just the only reason why horror gets a bad rap is because there's so much bad horror. But there is an equal amount of really, really fucking great horror, which just because it's horror doesn't mean it's not as worthy of
an art
critical analysis and detailed kind of respect as this Oscar baity kind of shit.
Absolutely.
And this is a movie that looks like it's going to be really, really successful. Not because it's just, it's Pennywise the Clown, because it's actually going to be really fucking good, because the reviews are great so far. I haven't heard a bad... people have got little gripes here and there, but I have not read an unfavourable review of it.
Exactly.
And that's, that's awesome.
And that's awesome.
I'm pumped.
Exactly. Just to top off my beautiful story of going to see it yesterday was when we went back to pick up little man from grandparents.
Yes.
My mother-in-law just casually drops in. I've seen a few scary movies. One that really scared the shit out of me was she didn't say shit out of me.
Yeah.
She's a Catholic lady. She goes, I got really scared when I saw Psycho at the cinema. I was like, so when people, for me, on my level, this is someone saying to me, I saw Bowie back in blah blah blah.
Yeah.
She saw Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho at the cinema in 1960. Fuck me, that's amazing.
So
she came home, was scared to death. She said she was in a room full of people and was still scared. Her dad came up behind her, like that, scared the shit out of her. She saw Psycho 1960.
Why would you do that?
That blew me away. That made my night. That my mother-in-law saw Psycho.
If I had enough kind of time on my hands and the ability to give a fuck, after I saw that you had seen it yesterday, I contemplated
Oh, God.
Getting dressed up for when I open the door.
Oh,
so that I just open the door holding
funny.
a red balloon and hello.
Oh, you could have had a balloon at the front.
Yeah. Oh, I could have had a balloon at the front. See, I'm not thinking ahead. Fuck. I'm not thinking ahead.
Yeah.
All right, just very quickly, because we need to get on to our Looper chat. We've already been going for a little while.
Yep.
I saw...
what did you watch, Tys?
A movie... an Oliver Stone movie that I hadn't seen. There's a few in his whatever you call it, filmography. That I haven't ever seen. And this was one of his earlier films called Salvador.
Oh.
And it was prior to, it was the film he made before Platoon, which kind of, he blew up and he became kind of the big Oliver Stone. Yeah. And Salvador's a good movie. It stars James Woods as a photographer. He's a bit of a scumbag, who...
I don't like James Woods unless he's a scumbag.
Well, this is... I never really like James Woods in film. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Okay.
But he did a really... This performance was excellent, and it's won me over a little bit for him. He's a scumbag journalist, photographer, who travels to Salvador after his wife and leaves him, takes the kids. He's poor, he's got nothing.
Yeah.
He can't afford, he's getting evicted. So he takes his scumbag best mate, Jim Belushi, who is just the biggest piece of shit in this film.
Yeah.
And I hate him.
Yeah.
To Salvador, basically on the idea that he's gonna try and find some photos of this is during the Salvadorian Civil War.
Yeah, yep.
Basically get in with the guerrilla troops, take some photos, get some up-close action, and go home and sell them, make some cash. Yeah. And while he's there, he kind of gets caught up in the thing. It becomes obvious that it's a much more serious problem than he first anticipated.
Right.
That it's not going to be all fun, and they make all these gags about how they're just going to fuck all these hookers and smoke all these drugs and get fucked up, and it's just going to be fun, blah 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 blah. And it doesn't go that way. Shit gets real very quickly, and so it obviously changes him. As a person, and blah blah blah. It's like it's a good movie. It was a bit over 2 hours, but it felt like 4. Like it was really I felt like it took, because I watched it in a couple of sittings, but every time it was one of those movies where I'm like, I must have watched at least an hour and a half, and I've watched 40 minutes, and I'm like, oh, shit, all right, cool. And then I made a drink, came back, and then I'm like, well, I must be near the end, and I'm like, I'm only an hour into this thing. Okay, cool. It's very it's good, but it's I think it's missing what I love about Oliver Stone.
Yep.
It not necessarily, its subject matter is very Oliver Stoney.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can see why he was drawn to this and wanted to tell this story, because it shares a lot of similarities with how he's fascinated with Vietnam and what happened to the idea of American culture during Vietnam.
Yeah.
And this kind of mirrors that a little bit. There's a lot about the disillusionment of people who are fighting wars and how wars change people and all this kind of stuff. So you can see he's it's obviously right in his wheelhouse, this material, but it just doesn't have it didn't have the flair that Oliver Stone brings to these films. It was quite he handles the battle stuff really well, and there's some moments that are really confronting, but it's just not. It just wasn't my Oliver Stone. He hadn't quite found his wasn't
groove yet.
Well, and the sad thing is that a lot of his groove he reached the pinnacle of Oliver Stone groove when he was just like doing coke basically non-stop. So it's kind of unfortunate that was where he found his Oliver Stoneness. So the part that I love most about his filmmaking was brought on basically by the fact that he was a drug addict. Which is, it's unfortunate. But
all good artists are.
Well, all good artists are troubled. You've got to be troubled in some way to sometimes to bring out that magic. You've got something to express. So it was just kind of disappointing that I'm watching this whole movie thing and I'm missing my coked out Oliver Stone. Because he makes the kind of movies that I feel like are really because they are so energized. There's something about them. There's this kineticism about them that you're just like, yes, I'm in this. Which was kind of missing. It's still worth watching. James Woods gives a really fucking great performance. He's really, really great. And there's some political stuff that if you're interested in that period of time, it's really it is there's a bit of depth there to kind of dig into. I didn't know much about this war even existing, so it kind of prompted me to do a bit of a Wikipedia thing and have a read. It's pretty fucked up what happened over there. That's
one of the main reasons I like Oliver Stone is that he picks topics that people should know about either or have a say about, and that's what I like him.
And look,
what I like about
his
him.
movies are in no way meant to represent the truth.
Oh no,
of the events.
He's having his political say. If anything,
well, he's using these events to tell what is essentially a fictional story that represents a feeling. Yeah, so something like JFK is obviously. It's the conspiracy theory ramblings of a coked out fucking like lunatic, right?
Yeah.
But what it says about the way we trust our governments and the idea of, how we follow our leaders and what our leaders mean to us, our political leaders, and how certain people can change the way we approach so much of a country's kind of goals. That's important. That's really important stuff to know. Whether or not you think that there was someone on the grassy knoll or another shooter and all that kind of stuff, that's kind of irrelevant to that story.
It totally is.
It's telling it's not about that. It's saying so much more about personal obsession with these kind of things and the way our country is represented. Not our country, a way a country is represented. So look, get on. It's just on Stan. Like if you got 2 hours to kill, give it a watch.
Oh, nice.
But it's only really for if you are a fan of that kind of stuff. It's worth watching. But if you are not an Oliver Stone fan, don't go near it. I don't think you'll.
There are other ones to watch if you're not. If you want to jump in.
If you want to jump in Oliver Stone, this is not a good starting point.
What would you say?
Probably.
Fuck, that's kind of hard.
No, like a good starting point for him is probably Platoon. I keep saying it so weirdly. Platoon. I can't say.
Just say quick. Platoon.
Yeah, there you go. That's weird. I'd say that's the best starting point because it really was when he kind of
it was his jumping off point. Yeah,
found his niche.
But after that, Jesus, just Platoon, Wall Street, Born on the 4th of July, The Doors, JFK, Natural Born Killer. Fuck,
it's just a run of whether or not there's some lesser and there's very quality in there, but they're all extremely worthy of your time.
Absolutely.
And really demonstrate even up to something like U-Turn, which is not a very good movie, but is probably the most Oliver Stone of Oliver Stone movies. It's fucking bonkers. He's so distinctive in his style, and to experience the way one filmmaker has decided to make his art is worth it. Anyway, let's move on because we got to get onto it.
We're rambling.
We are rambling. Well, I'm rambling mostly because I'm flu germed up in the head.
But he sounds good, doesn't he, people?
Sounds sexy.
Press 2 if you want to hear more of Tys. Press 2.
I'm going to see.
Press hash.
Can I get it?
Oh, you want to go
any lower than this? Maybe. Look at that. That's impossible. Wow. I'd never be able to do that any other day.
Can you do... I don't...
Old man.
Yeah, I was going to say, can you do swing low? Can you do that for me?
Swing. Oh. No. Swing low.
That's amazing.
Let's just move on, shall we?
Let's move on to our feature presentation.
And now for our feature presentation.
All
right.
Looper.
Ryan
Johnson's Looper.
2012.
This is a tough one because it's hard. Where do we start, Nicholas? I don't know where to start in a film like this.
I know. I put off writing notes. This is very rare. Normally, when writing notes for my podcast, I will do it straight after or about an hour after. I sat for 2 days and then was like, fuck, I don't know what to write.
That's funny. I have to write my notes while I'm watching.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I can't do it that way.
No, sometimes I do. I'll write quick notes while I'm watching. I want to mention that, I want to mention that, and then I'll rewrite what I want to do. But this, I waited 2 days, and then last night I'm like, I don't know what to fucking write. And then it all came out.
Well, that's it. Once you start, it's hard to put the cap back on exactly. Something like this. But this is kind of, I didn't write very many notes because it's actually...
Yeah.
It's so engaging, this movie.
Yeah. And you don't have to write notes for this thing.
I don't want to take my eyes off it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like other times when I've been watching movies, I'm kind of like, oh, I'll write that down, and I'm half listening and going,
I know this bit.
But I like it's so. Even though I've seen this quite a few times, this is I think the fourth time I'd seen this film.
Yep.
So I saw it at the cinemas.
Same.
Watched it as soon as it was available
on
to
Blu-ray?
rent.
Yep.
Or whatever, however I did it. Maybe this was the first time I've watched my bought copy, so because I remember I unwrapped the plastic. So I think I would have rented it on a thingy.
Oh, okay.
then it was on like free to air, and as I was flicking through, I was like, oh shit, yeah, well I'm watching Looper now. And then this time, so it's for a movie like that's only been out for 4 or 5 years. I've watched it consistently like once a year since it's come out, and every time I am instantly
totally
into it, so engaged.
Absolutely. Is it because of the time travel element?
So let's get something out of the way.
Right.
Straight off the bat.
Go on.
If you want to talk about this film on its time travel merits, it falls to shit.
Yeah.
And
there's holes.
And that is fine.
But that's fine.
There is barely a time travel movie that doesn't fall to shit. Because time travel is a theoretical fucking concept.
Yeah.
So saying that it doesn't agree with time travel rules is like it's
exactly.
It's like saying no fairies don't have magic powers.
Yeah, or it's the same as vampires. You've got different types of vampires. You can go from dusk till dawn, or you can go from the glittery fuckers.
We have no way of knowing exactly how time travel would manifest itself in reality as a concept until we get to it, you know? So like I've read a lot of people saying, oh, this doesn't work because of this doesn't work because of this, and it's like, man, how do you know? Like, and look, I know, and theoretical physicists will have one say, and they're probably the most accurate.
Sure.
But the smart people that I've seen talking about this film actually say it's a fairly accurate representation.
Yeah.
Because
that you don't have a way to get back, you're actually fucked. And you have to
there seem to some of the choices they make in this are actually very close to what the reality of it might be.
Yeah.
The only people I hear complaining about it usually are like fucking trolls.
Please do not touch the counter. And unfortunately, this wouldn't work because of time cop, and same matter cannot occupy the same space.
Yes.
Fuck off, dickhead.
There are Look, and so anyway, it would fall apart though. Like there's a lot of stuff in this, and you'll get caught in a loop of.
But they address that in the movie, and that's what I love. Bruce Willis goes, "We're not going to talk about this because otherwise we'll be talking at our asses, making diagrams with straws. So we're not going to do that. We're just going to say
which is so
that
perfect because
time travel exists. How about that?
Yeah,
yeah.
Because you know that someone's got a fucking blueprint at home and have drawn up the entirety of the loop like time travel thing.
The time travel thing,
and it's like it's like that scene from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia with Charlie Day and all the red string and the cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and he's like, no, this and this and this.
In my head, it's Doc with the blackboard in number 2 going, timeline skewed into this tangent and made an alternate 1985.
And so I choose not to care.
Yeah.
I choose to
just let it wash over you. It's
what
fine.
the movie tells me about time travel to be the truth of time travel in this universe.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's fine.
Yeah.
If this movie wants to tell me, you've got to have faith, you've got to trust in your movie's universe logic.
Yeah.
Yeah? And it's exactly what you're saying. I don't watch a vampire movie and go, I don't know about that.
Why don't they don't have powers like Interview with a Vampire? Come on, what's going on?
Or even just the concept of vampires as a whole. Like, we're talking about vampires.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We're talking about time travel. Yes, theoretically it can exist.
It could exist.
But then theoretically vampires could exist.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not?
Why the fuck not?
Why not? Go on, tell us why not.
I'm going to have some super nerds.
Bring it on, you super nerds. Bring it the fuck on. We won trivia, motherfuckers. Well, I didn't, but we did. Suck it.
But yeah, so that for me, that once you get your head into that kind of space.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's wrong to be over critical of time travel movies as a concept, because sometimes some movies make time travel the point.
Yes.
And those movies you're allowed to critique. Because if you're going to say, no, this is the point of the movie, of the story.
Absolutely agree.
I can then say, okay, but your logic doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's time travel is secondary to what this movie is about.
Absolutely.
It's just it exists in a world where time travel does exist.
Exactly. It's almost dealing with the effects of time travel.
Yeah,
it's not time travel itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's more it's more about the people in the film. It's more about characters. It's more about this idea of, I love the idea of, you say, it's a common saying is like, if someone says, if you could meet your young self, what would you say to them? And pretty much everyone's response is always, I'd smack him in the back of the head and tell him
wouldn't you?
To stop being a fucking little shit.
You're a fucking idiot.
Basically is this movie is basically that idea as a concept. Yeah.
That diner scene. You're a fucking idiot.
Which, like, that diner scene is wonderful.
Yeah.
Having the ability to see two different eras of the same person, one with all this wisdom and all this life experience, look at the one that hasn't got any of that and basically tell him, you're a little fucking shitbag and listen to me.
Stop doing drugs, you fucking moron.
Exactly. Yeah. Anyway, this is where we get into kind of heavy discussions as well, which is, it's hard for this movie, like, to find... you kind of just have to jump in. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't just you can't break it into sections. I don't think.
There's no sections. So the one thing that I wanted, the overall world of this movie is so well thought through and so well developed. I feel. It's
okay. Let's do that.
Amazing.
Let's attempt to break something.
Yeah. So no. We can still jump around.
Yeah. But the production design of it all.
Yeah. You can tell that Ryan has a particular setting in mind. This isn't, and what I love about this movie is that it's not that far into the future.
No, I think it's about 30 years.
Yeah, 2044.
Yeah,
so the cars that we're driving now still exist. We're not into flying cars or anything like that, and everything just looks.
No, we've got hover bikes, and that's like
exactly, and they look like they're just held together.
Yeah,
like they're not
dingy
that.
Fucking things. Yeah,
exactly. But it's not. We're not going to the extent of Blade Runner. Do you know what I mean?
No,
exactly.
You
can tell that this is, for me, this is kind of the start of Blade Runner. It's sort of started like this, and it's going to eventuate to,
it's a great interpretation of a future that things have not gone well. Yeah. Like, there are versions where you can see the benefits of development and of something like Minority Report, which has always been brought up as a very good idea of how the future works.
Yeah.
Has a bit of both. Has like the positives of it, where some things are very successful and run very smoothly, and then there's the other sides of the dingy underside of it. Yeah. This seems like it's almost all kind of dingy underside.
Yeah.
People still live their lives in relative, there'd be relative levels of comfort and discomfort, but generally on the whole, technology has kind of had a negative effect on society.
Yeah. And like the fact that I like the just the little, they don't make, you have to look for the little details, like the fact that they have fucking solar panels on the cars to run the car on the front of them. Yep. And if you look when Bruce Willis goes into the 7-Eleven, they actually sell them as a quick buy on the corner.
Oh, yeah, cool. Right.
So you can just attach them to the car.
Yeah.
So you can look for it if you want to, but just those little details that you have, and then the big landscape shots of how the cities are massive and all that stuff, but the little boats down the bottom that are all futuristic and amazing and things like that.
And even the way that you think about now, like, so in our time of 2017, there are still things from the 80s floating around.
Absolutely.
So you'll see like a house that looks really old, or someone will be driving like an old car down the road and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or like shops that have been kind of the same way since the 90s and look a bit weird now. And that this world kind of had those elements, like the way the car that they're driving is kind of old school.
Shitty,
there's, the clothes are still kind of like, no one's wearing weird jumpsuits and shit.
No.
Like the clothes are still kind of exactly. The clothes are still kind of, they've developed the same way our clothes do. We just kind of...
And it's not laser guns either.
No.
It's not, we don't have anything futuristic with our guns or anything like that. No. It's gone backwards, if anything.
Yeah, and, just everyone just happens to have a little fucking piece of glass as a phone now, instead of or when Bruce Willis goes to the library, it's a pull-up screen that's like a transparent kind of glass touch screen.
Yeah.
Or he does that weird thing with his fingers over
the mouse pad.
Like it's like a mouse pad. Yeah.
That's so true.
And so that I really dig that part of it.
Yeah.
Like the eye drugs as well. The eye drugs I think is really cool.
So it's little details which I like.
But they seem like organic developments from what we have now. Yeah? Like actually using an eyedropper to administer yourself a drug that gets you fucked up is actually a pretty good way of doing it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's people thinking, because you're not smoking it, you're not injecting it.
Yeah.
You just drop it in your eyeballs.
And you
basically just wake up with some severe red eye the next day.
Yeah.
And that's if that's the worst of your problems,
you'll be fine. I'm pretty sure you'll be fine.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of film noir.
Yes.
And this Ryan likes to go back to this a little, which Brick is a big, it's what he wanted. I love its first movie is always like first album.
Yeah.
They always wanted to do. This is something that they've thought of for so long.
Yeah.
And Brick was that. But this, I like that it's. I wouldn't class this as a noir film. It has noir elements.
It definitely has elements to it.
But, but no, it's not a noir film. But I just love the narration, the fact that it's coming from Joseph Gordon-Levitt's viewpoint and him narrating it. Also, his loner mentality. He's not, and he's not very. You don't really like him, do you? You don't really side with Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Young Joe is not a good guy.
Yeah.
But that's why that's what I think this movie is about.
Yeah.
I think anyway, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But the other thing that I loved is so the loner mentality of him. I don't know how to say her name. Is it Piper Parabos?
Parabo, I think.
Yeah. Her character, she's very... I like how she interacts with him and she's kind of on her own.
She's the quintessential kind of like the starlet from the Femme Fatale.
The Femme Fatale.
Well, except obviously.
Sort of. Yeah. And then the diner set up with the coffee shots of the clouds coming, like the milk flowing through the coffee. It doesn't have smoking in this. There's no smoking, which you would think... It could have something in it, but there is no smoking.
No one's smoking?
No one's smoking.
I didn't even think
it's all the eye droppers.
Oh, they've got joints.
Do they?
There's a bit at the...
When do they have joints?
He has a lit joint on the bars of silver. That's how he knows that Kid Blue's there.
That's right. He does too.
I thought they would, but
that's true.
No one smokes a cigarette though.
It's not a lot of cigarettes. No,
I don't think anyone smokes a cigarette.
Yeah. But I just
I'll have
love
to double check that.
No, there isn't. I don't think there is.
We'll just go with that.
Don't
rewatch it. You don't need to rewatch it to find out.
But yeah, I love the noir elements. It's just, it brings it out.
Yeah, sure. I like that voice over to a degree. I think sometimes it's a bit lame.
Yeah. But I liked how didn't you like how he explains like this is what's called closing the loop and this is what's called letting your loop run.
I actually didn't like...
You don't like them?
Well, I don't mind closing your loop because it makes sense if they're called loopers. But I felt like when it's like letting your loop run, it's kind of like, do you have a name for that? Like,
but that makes me feel that it's happened before.
But that's not a name. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
just a sentence.
You know, it's just a sentence that relates to it. You know? So I don't know. Sometimes I was okay with it. I liked the opening narration because it felt like. It actually felt like the conversation he has with Emily Blunt later, because he starts off the same way.
Which conversation he has with her?
Time travel hasn't been invented yet, but in 30 years it has been. Yeah. He starts that conversation with her.
Yeah.
And so in my head, I actually think that the narration that we hear is just taking that conversation and playing it over the start, which makes me more comfortable with it to a degree.
Yeah.
I don't love like the interjections with... because I think we get it, you know what I mean? I think we get more of it than we need to.
He makes it very easy.
The stuff about the TKs just turning up and everyone thought it was, everyone thought we'd the next stage of evolution, but we actually just have a bunch of dickheads trying to float coins.
We thought we were getting superheroes.
Which,
I liked it.
It's a funny line, but I don't think it really adds anything for me. I think seeing the billboards and seeing him just jiggling the coin in the air would have been enough. We would have got it,
Yeah.
So but at the same time, I'm not offended by it. It's just kind of there, and I think, would I appreciate this more without it? But then there are parts where I really like it. Like I really like
her with the lighter.
No, sorry, the voiceover I'm talking about.
Right.
Like I really like the one at the end. I think it's perfect.
Yeah.
It really sums up the film wonderfully.
Yeah.
And there's a line where he says about the guy that has his, when they pay you out for when your loop is closed.
Yeah.
And he says something like, "There's not a lot of forward thinkers
in this
business." And I was like, "That's a great, that's a really great line."
Yeah.
So it hits and misses for me, that voicemail, but not to the detriment of the film in any way.
Yeah. Totally.
But I can see the choice of it though, because you're right. It's coming from. It's obviously inspired by the noir kind of conventions. Let's ask something.
I like questions.
Yeah, questions. So, we've talked about the production design.
Yeah.
I want to talk about some of the time travel concepts that we're dealing with.
Yep.
Just so I can, because I want to see what your thoughts are on some of these things.
I think I know what you're going to bring up. Keep going.
The Rainmaker.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So the Rainmaker is the reason why old Joe decides that he's going to go back in time.
Yes.
Because he could have just, after he beat the fuck out of those dudes, he could have just run. But he's decided,
But his wife is dead.
Yeah, his wife is dead.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and I'm going to stop the Rainmaker from ever existing.
Yeah.
The act of him going back is what creates the Rainmaker because he shoots him.
Yes, that is correct.
Do we? Yes.
Yes.
This is
He's connecting stories.
This is where we get to the first kind of paradox that I'm not uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
But I'm not. I wanted to see what is your opinion of that?
Sure. What is my opinion of that? I like it.
You like it?
I like it.
That's definitely how it goes down for you? Because I actually didn't really... I never thought of it that way. It was only in this most recent watch when I read something when they said... When somebody else brought up the paradox and said, the only reason the Rainmaker exists is because old Joe went back, blah, 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 and made the Rainmaker, which means if he'd never gone back, the Rainmaker would never exist, but he would never go back because blah, 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 paradox.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way.
Really?
I always
what
was
did you
just...
think of?
Well, I was just under the impression that the Rainmaker...
existed.
Because he comes about because of the first time he kills who he thinks his mother.
His mum is, yeah.
And it escalates from there, and Emily Blunt isn't able to...
So this is where a lot of things could have come in. So you're right, that could be... So looking at how I look at this is how I look at Rick and Morty with different... Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. This is another timeline where in the timeline that you're talking about, where Emily Blunt doesn't come back to take care of Sid.
She might come back, but I think young Joe, the relationship that she has with young Joe and the relationship that Sid has with young Joe is what makes him not be the Rainmaker. I think without young Joe there, he becomes the Rainmaker anyway because Emily Blunt
comes back,
tries to and isn't able to.
Well.
No.
Isn't able to.
Without young Joe, I don't think she's able.
Really?
I think that not that sounds like that she depended on the man.
No.
But I think it's the events of this story
because you can tell
give her the strength and give Sid a father figure, someone who he can relate on. And there's a really important scene for me. I think the most important scene is when they're in the little trapdoor. Yeah. And he says what happened to his mother. Yeah. And they make very special mention of him saying, I was sitting in a train carriage by myself, and all I wanted to do was kill the people responsible.
And that's supposedly
what happens to Sid. So for me, I always found that was the important link, that the relationship that Joe had with Sid is what stopped Sid from becoming the Rainmaker. Not the fact that he killed himself. I think that's what stops. I think that combines together to stop Sid from becoming the Rainmaker in this timeline. Yeah. But without both old and young Joe. Because you know how sometimes it's like in time travel, you've got to assume that because of destiny, and I use that in air quotes, some things are eventual. There is no fate but what we make. Yeah. So it's the same thing from the Terminator things. Judgment Day happens regardless
of what you're
Sid becomes the Rainmaker regardless. It just so happens that in this one, young Joe made the decision at that very last moment to kill himself. Yep. And that combined with the relationship he had
with young Joe,
with Sid, Sid and young Joe, is finally the two elements that needed to come together to make the Rainmaker not exist.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I never thought I never thought that old Joe created the Rainmaker. Okay. I thought in that specific
because of the
timeline,
interaction with him and young Joe, that makes him not be the Rainmaker that old Joe...
But if old Joe had have shot, that would have been the eventual Rainmaker creation that can't be avoided. Yeah. Young Joe just made the right decision at the last second. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
I agree with you, yeah. Oh, that was good.
So that's kind of the way I've always thought about it. And for me, because the paradox is too big a paradox for me. Yeah. That one really that messes with me. The whole one. Because it's the Terminator one. It's like, how can John Connor exist
if Kyle Reese
is his dad, and in order for Kyle Reese to be his dad, he has to get sent into the past, which means he will never exist in the future.
Exactly.
So it's the chicken and the egg.
It is,
right?
Yeah. But this is what I love about time travel movies. I really do.
I love the discussion, but in no way if I find something that falls apart in my hands, it doesn't affect the quality of the film for me.
No, of course not.
Because there are a few in this that I want to talk about one as well. One other one that does my head in, and I'm just like, that's fucking this one. This, I could go around and around.
Before you do that though, can I ask, did you love and what I love in this, a few movies have done this, but not many, which I call the sliding door effect.
Yes.
So you see from one point, if young Joe kills old Joe, what would happen?
Yes.
And we see that storyline eventuate and him to become Bruce Willis.
Well, this is kind of what
I love those effects.
Well, it's wonderful. It's a really great way of showing it. And I love that you don't realize until a couple of seconds into it that you're not actually seeing. So we've been following young Joe for the first half an hour of the movie.
Yeah.
And we see the camera flick to the shot we're very familiar with of him holding the blunderbuss, looking at the watch, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Comes up, shoots the person, checks it's gold on the back, and we go, hang on, we just saw this. It didn't happen. And then it clicks. We're actually watching old Joe. This is old Joe. This is the first time through.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
That's really fucking great.
Yeah. I do love it.
Which makes me, and this is, so let's imagine that time is this one huge line, right?
We're getting out of Blackboard.
Yeah,
I'm
getting out of Blackboard and straws. I'm making diagrams.
Okay.
So for me, this movie is basically one tiny segment of that giant line. Yeah?
Yeah.
There have been Joes existing on this end. There have been Joes existing on this end.
Yeah.
There have been Rainmakers. There have been not Rainmakers. There's been all kinds of things. Emily Blunt has existed. She hasn't existed. Sid's somebody else. Sid saves the world in some timelines.
Yeah.
We're watching one tiny little fragment, which basically consists of one 30-year timeline happening twice.
Yes.
Or roughly.
However,
And it's so self-contained that we don't know how many times the loop of Joe has actually just gone normally. Yeah. It could have happened 100 times before now. We don't know how many times old Joe has actually tried this before and failed.
Or how many times young Joe has instead of going to China, he's gone to Paris.
He's actually gone to Paris.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because that's a whole different... And I love that.
I love that because you're right. Because it's things like that make me think that this film wants you to really embrace the idea that this has happened infinite amount of times before.
Parallel dimensions.
And that this is just one eventuation of that choice. Yeah? Because it really is that choice that defines everything. The way Jeff Daniels, who plays... what's his fucking name in this? I've forgotten. He's got a weird name.
He does have a weird name. It's like Kid Blue. What kind of name is
Kid Blue? Yeah. Fuck. Oh, Kid Blue, man! Don't you want to just punch him in the face?
Oh, he does it well. He does a great job.
He's such a hateable character.
He is, but he's great. When he gets hit by the fucking metal door, you're like, suck it, you fucking moron.
Piece of shit.
Yeah, so good.
Abe. Love it. It's great. Yeah. But the way Abe specifies, I'm from the future. You want to go to you want to go.
I love that. I love
that too. But, and it's
But it makes sense if you even look at the world right now. You're not going to go to Paris. You're going to go to Japan.
But I like the idea that thinking that 1 out of every 2 times we run this infinite loop, he goes to France and something else happens. Yeah. Like something completely different happens.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I like that it actually. I think it's actually a distinguishing kind of feature of young Joe. Is so. I think this movie is saying a lot about regret. I think that's kind of one of its key kind of thematic things.
You know what it is? It's what you said at the start with the conversation. Yes, it's regret, but it's the conversation of old Ryan Johnson wishing he could go back and say to young Ryan Johnson, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
It's going to be okay. Like that's kind of
exactly.
That's sometimes, but you think about like some of the things that your younger self has done, and you want to change those decisions. You want to be able to go back and say, man, just don't go there. Yeah. Just don't make this choice. Yeah. Don't be there at this time because things could be, and not that, life isn't great at the moment or what it is. Yeah. But you think about some things, you think, well, we could.
What if I had done
What
this?
if I had done that?
What if I had just,
you never know that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think this movie gives you a tangible way to explore that idea. Yeah. And I don't think it's so much about like getting the mechanics of time travel right. I think they've just used the ability to say, hey, we can have an old version of you talk to a younger version, but let's set it where the younger version is actually a kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But this is the funny thing about it. He wants to be a better person. Yeah, he does.
He knows he's going to be. He just it's almost like he's just stuck in this little section. Even it's the way he narrates, it's the way that he lives by himself. He knows he's smarter than all the other loopers.
He is.
He knows that, this is not going to be forever, and my loop is going to be closed eventually.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go to Paris.
But he wants, I think he obviously doesn't like the life that he lives. I think the way he's so obsessed with getting out, like he's saving his silver bars so that he knows that he will have a way to get out when he needs it.
Yeah.
He's a good person who has made some really shitty decisions and had some real bad shit happen to him, but he's unable to break out of that. And he's really unable to make that decision, make that call, and become a better person. And I think this movie is all about what it takes to make that decision and how changes affect you and how you can then be the person that makes the right decision. Yeah. I find it funny that in both old and young Joe, it's actually a relationship with a woman.
Yeah, that changes them.
And I don't necessarily mean romantic, because I don't think the Emily Blunt young Joe relationship is particularly romantic.
It might have been.
It might have been at some point, but it's the young Joe sees in Emily Blunt and Sid a relationship worth saving, and a relationship that he wishes he had, because he didn't have that with his mother, and so that starts to turn him into the kind of person that he wants to be, because he can see that it's not all about eye drugs and blunderbusses and money, that there are more important things. Whereas for old Joe, it was very much the love of someone that could forgive him for the awful life he's lived,
and fixed him,
and actually able to fix him. And it's two men at very different points trying to figure out how they can save that. What do you have to do? What are the limits that we will go to in order to respect what these people have done for you, in a sense, as well?
Yeah.
And that's why I don't really give a fuck about the time travel stuff. I think thematically there's some really fucking heavy shit going on in this, and I love that stuff. I really love it.
Well said.
I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit.
No,
but
that was good. That was well said.
We'll see.
What did you? We're gonna bring it back a bit.
Yeah.
What did you think of Joseph Gordon-Levitt's makeup?
Oh yeah. Okay. Let's talk about the makeup.
Because this got panned when this came out. He got really crucified for his depiction of Bruce Willis, which I think it was fucking awesome.
I think
he did Bruce to a T.
Well, okay, so this is the thing. He had enough of the mannerisms and enough of the kind of the vocal delivery and enough of the facial expressions.
It's the facial expressions, man.
But this is the thing. I don't need him to look like die-hard Bruce Willis.
No.
That's not the point.
It's an adaptation of Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I just need to believe that who he looks like at that point could potentially grow into someone that looks like Bruce Willis.
Yeah, exactly.
And they achieved that perfectly.
Yes.
So
I think he did an amazing job.
I've heard people bitching and moaning about it. We've got
Bruce to see what you fucking do.
Bruce Willis when he was 30 looked nothing like that. I'm like, that's not the point, man. I believe that face would grow into that face.
Yeah, and that's it.
And that's all it needs to be.
That's all I need.
Yeah, because it's just such a weird complaint to make.
Yeah.
If anything, I think his eyebrows are a little dark. They look a bit weird.
Yeah,
but
I think his bottom lip's a little big.
Big.
Yeah, because Bruce Willis has really thin, small lips.
He does have thin lips, lizard lips.
Yeah. But apart from that, one or two things. I think he does a boss job. I think his mannerisms and his little smile that he does like that.
Yeah, he's got some of that stuff. The way his eyes, he has that steely kind of look, really down.
Yeah. I do love when I've watched the makings before, but when they were doing the dinner scene, they cut out to refit the lighting, and as they did, Bruce and him were talking, and Bruce turns to him and goes, "Dude, you sound like me."
Yeah, that's awesome.
And Joseph Gordon-Levitt professionally goes, "Oh, thanks, man, thanks." Inside, he was like, "Fuck yes!"
And tell me, that's amazing. I've seen some of those clips. Bruce Willis doesn't look like he's enjoying his life. I feel like Bruce Willis is in this movie. I feel like he's really bringing it in. I feel like he's not bringing a lot. Do you know what? I think this is one of his best performances in the last 15 years, I would say.
But that doesn't say much.
I know it's not saying much, but I feel like he's doing some really cool stuff, like some really great work in this.
I think, because for me, I want to see myself in someone in every movie that I see, right?
Sure.
In this, it's not young Joe. Now, I'm talking about when I watched it now, because now is very different when I first saw this movie. Because then when I first saw it, maybe I was young Joe, but now I'm I'll get to it later. I'm the Emily Blunt character.
Sure.
But you never side with old Joe, and there's a clear point where the movie says, no, you're not meant to.
No.
But it starts out that you do. You see young old Joe meet the woman in China, have this beautiful life that he's just living out, and then she dies. So you're sort of on his side, going back and slapping your younger self in the face. Oi, dumbass! She's going to clean you up. She's going to make you feel amazing.
Yep.
You're going to do this for me, for us. And then he kills a kid. And that's the scene where you're like, I am not meant to like this person at all. And I feel that after that scene happens and Bruce goes into the street, that is just a reaction scene that you can just stay in that emotion. And I feel that he rings it in a little. I feel there could have been more from that.
Yeah, okay. I'm okay with it. I don't. Yeah,
I
see what you're saying.
But I'm saying
potentially, go a little further.
Yeah. I'm just saying that you're doing something that is one of the ultimate. It's a unforgivable sin. If you,
I really like the way they intercut the shots of him with his wife in bed, into him like realizing what he's done. I think that's wonderful. I think it adds so much to the guilt of it. I think it's really, really great. Yeah. But it's funny because we talk about movies in the sense like we're meant to have a good guy and a bad guy sometimes.
No. It's really not.
This is one of those perfect movies where it is so much more complicated than that.
That's so
because
true.
You're right. We do kind of we are rooting for old Joe, and because it's Dr. Pepper time.
It's Dr. Pepper time.
Yeah. Because we follow it, and you're right. It just as soon as that happens, we realize, holy shit, no, this is far more complicated than this.
You're not.
Well, I don't even think of it as sides anymore because it's.
Now you're just observing.
But in my head, I'm like, this is the complicated nature of this, is it's like I'm on his task or his quest, we'll call it,
journey,
seems noble, right?
Yeah.
So where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line knowing that if he does what he does, he's saving millions of people, millions of lives.
Sure.
But he, in order to do that, has to kill a kid.
Yeah.
Has to kill. This isn't like the Terminator where we're killing like the kid that's going to save everybody.
No.
We're killing the kid that's going to cause ultimate destruction and so much suffering.
But that's your paradox. Does he if he kills him?
Well, this is, we don't actually know, but like where's the line? What is not acceptable if the end result is stopping millions of people dying?
Yeah.
And that's where it gets really fucking
questionable.
Like, I love this movie. I love it. And because it's not only that, his intentions, his motives might be slightly more selfish because in his head, it starts because of his wife.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what better catalyst for that than to say, do you know what? She was the most innocent person in this world. She is the perfect representation of why the Rainmaker needs to be stopped.
Yeah.
Because she had the heart to take a big piece of shit like me,
turn
me around.
Yeah.
She was the best of everybody. She's the ideal. She's the one with the heart that it's not fair that she can't survive this.
Yeah.
So if she's the catalyst for it, why not? What better fucking reason?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the representation. True. She's the singular kind of embodiment of everything that he's trying to do. Yeah. And so, that's why I think it's hard to kind of put labels on either of them because I think young Joe, even though we're presented him for the first fucking half an hour of the film, and he seems kind of charming, and movie logic is telling us that we want to be on his side.
Yeah,
he's also he also dobs in his best friend.
Yeah,
pretty much straight away at the threat.
That's a fucking scene.
The threat of let's talk about that in a second. The threat of basically having half his money taken is enough.
Yeah.
Because for him, the importance of getting out of this life is more important than the life of this person.
But he's smarter. He's not buying... He has a few nice things, but he's not buying a brand new motorbike that hovers or
no,
like
exactly.
That, he's saving his money.
Yeah.
Yeah. That scene where that's a different type of torture. Fuck
yeah. Okay, so
telling you
that scene. So this is another one that I've read a lot of people
had problems with.
Right.
Of course they did.
Its effect is immeasurable. It is so effective.
Yeah.
I can't even there is nothing like it. I cannot compare it to anything I've ever seen before.
No.
And for that
it gets
hundreds of points.
Yeah.
Hundreds of points.
Yeah.
Infinite points.
Yeah.
But this is it falls apart if you think about it.
Of course it falls apart, but don't think about it.
like the way he falls apart.
Yeah.
And it's the jaw. It's the only
it's the
time.
fucking jaw that does it for me. I'm like, oh, what the fuck?
The jaw?
Yeah.
I didn't notice the
you
jaw.
only see it as a glimpse when he's going back, when he's lost one foot and then he loses his legs. And you're like, oh my God. And then he goes up to the door and you see his shot again. And he's got stumps instead of arms.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is messed up. This is really messed up.
So I really like the idea of
the writing.
That you can scar yourself.
Yeah.
Or, someone can scar you and it will send a message to that person.
Yeah, it'll scar into the
future. So so this is the way I have to think about it is that if you are currently sharing the same timeline. So if your future self and yourself are in that same timeline,
yes,
you have created an isolated event. Right? Because everyone's complaint was, if he chopped his arm off, he now lives 30 years without his arm, and so won't end up where he was.
Oh wow! Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's the okay.
So you're no longer because he's because he's never going to be a looper now again because he's just had everything surgically removed from him. So he will never have to close his loop. He'll never have to. So for me, it becomes an isolated event.
Yeah,
absolutely. It creates a third timeline.
Yeah.
That is basically if we've got two parallel lines, you've got a third one that juts off to the side and spins around in circles and is completely isolated, right? That's the only way you can think about it. Otherwise, it falls to shit.
Yeah.
The idea that you can scar yourself and then... Because what I found really interesting is, and it's one line of dialogue, but I think it's really perfect and it helps kind of cover a lot of the holes, is when Bruce Willis says, I get the memories after you do it.
After you have them. Yeah, yeah.
So you do something and then suddenly a new memory exists.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it gets there, and it's cloudy, but it's there.
Yeah.
And you can see that both times it happens with that guy and with Bruce Willis, they suddenly have an urge to look at their arm.
Yeah. Who would look at their arm if you had a scar?
And that's because all of a sudden the new memory exists.
That's so true.
And so you've got to think...
Which makes sense. Which makes sense. Why it makes sense.
So you've got to think, once that first moment happens, that spin-off then all moves almost... They still stay the same amount of distance away from each other, but they're happening concurrently. So it's not... Because the theory is, if all these things get cut off, it doesn't matter what time... They wouldn't happen gradually. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wouldn't lose a finger and then the arm. It would all happen at once because it happened 30 years ago, basically.
Yeah.
But I like the idea that because each new time they cut something off, they're creating a new timeline.
Yeah.
And so the memory begins again. Yeah. The part just magically disappears, and we're now in a new timeline. Yeah. New timeline. Yeah.
It's so true.
But aside from that, that's how I get away with explaining it, and that gives me some kind of satisfaction. I kind of don't
think about it. I just go, no, it happens like
that. And sometimes it's just easy to go, no, that's just how it happens.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the actual fucking psychological torment of that. It is
from either side.
Ridiculous.
Either side.
So, well, I have to assume that what's his name?
Seth.
Seth is under anesthetic, so he's not really feeling it as...
You reckon?
Because he'd go into shock and probably die. Yeah. So they'd need to be doing some pretty hardcore doctoring to make sure he doesn't die. Because then that
but it doesn't give him a lot of time, 15 minutes to get to here, and I feel like he just starts lobbing shit off.
Yeah, well, this. It's so, but it is so affecting.
Yeah.
Because you do, realizing that you have absolutely no control over what is happening to you.
Losing.
You need to be there. You need to get to this place immediately because you have no, even if it was happening to you at that time. So if you were tied up and someone was gradually cutting off, you still would have fight in you. You would fight. You would try to do something. You would you'd be thinking in your head. You'd be like, oh, what can I do? I need to fucking do something because I'm going to lose. I'm going to die.
Yeah.
All of that is removed from the equation.
Yep.
And you are simply watching
this guy lose parts,
having the memory of it implanted into your head immediately. So you remember the pain. You remember the awfulness of
the time, everything. Yeah. That's fucked.
And it's just like, that's fucking psychological hell, man. Yeah. That's fucked up.
That's so bad.
It's weird when they start taking his legs off, though. It's kind of like...
No, I like it because it's quick.
I feel like I think I would have found it a little bit more effective if it was more torturous. Like, so instead of it being limbs getting lobbed off...
An eye?
Yeah.
Pop an eye out?
Maybe like, an eye's gone, like
an
his
ear.
And then, or even like giant scars appeared.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
but
or like all of a sudden his fingernails were off or something.
Yeah.
You know, just things that
things like that,
are more kind of, because it's
or
weird where he's just
something melts.
or like a huge,
an
exactly.
acid burn or something.
Because it's weird that he's just a stump crawling through the street.
Oh, stump man.
Yeah.
It's quite scary.
Because I like the idea of him instantly getting the memory of it occurring.
Yeah.
So if they were actually torturing young Seth,
and
then he constantly gets the memories of that and feels...
That's intense.
And knows
not only that, he's seeing it.
Yeah, and seeing it occur in real time.
Yeah. That's full on.
Yeah. And then they just shoot him. And it's like, see you, buddy. Which, they kind of mentioned briefly in that, it's better to kill... You got to kill the old one, not the young one, because the young one creates a time paradox, blah, blah, blah. But it's kind of like... Does it though?
I know. Could you just kill them?
Couldn't you just kill him?
Yeah.
Because he'd just disappear, like happened to old Joe and when young Joe killed himself.
Unless he wants the money back, but
maybe
that's the only, like, it's gold instead of silver. But still,
maybe.
I doubt that he's going to be. Yeah.
Anyway, we've got to start talking about the Emily Blunt section because we haven't spoken anything about it. So let's get on to that.
So I sided what I was saying before. I side with Sarah this time, and the reason I do everything she goes through to protect her son. And his side of the story is just her and his son is just insanely heartbreaking. I found the whole thing. Just,
I agree. I think
amazingly sad. And the fact that you see both sides, like Sid's side of the story versus her side of the story.
Yeah.
Little things like her, the fact that she has to have a safe inside her bedroom for times when Sid is.
If he happens to lose it and she needs to be protected.
She needs to be protected.
Yeah.
Not only that, not that it's mentioned. It is mentioned, but the fact that she goes out and just hacks at this stump means that she's not looking to cut it down. She's not looking to get rid of it. She's out there for a reason to get emotions and whatever she's going through out of her body. It's
a very cathartic process for her, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it was so beautiful and all of it, everything that
I like the simplicity of the house. I love that it removes the futuristic elements all of a sudden.
Yeah.
We're in a story that we are far more familiar with.
Yeah, exactly. And you get a little. I like the crop duster that.
And there are little parts to it, and that's all you need.
But this is my first. I didn't realize until after I'd finished because when you see the second sliding door effect, if Sarah does get shot, and you see the Rainmaker become the Rainmaker, I realized that this is my first film after having a child of my own,
right?
That I watch films differently now.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and good luck to you if you want to hurt my kid, because I don't mind going to jail. I'll go to jail with what I'm going to do.
Oh man, that's it. Yeah. And it's the Emily Blunt is really great in this movie.
Yeah.
Like
This is also.
I think she's awesome, and the bit where she's consoling him at the end he's losing his shit, and it cuts, and we lose all the sound,
and she's in the air,
and she's just saying, "It's okay,
it's all right, you'll be all right.
It's okay. Look at me. That's my moment. I break at that moment. I was like, that is fucking. That's so good.
Yeah.
It's
very,
beautiful,
very full on,
but it's because we've she's done such a good job up to that point.
Yeah.
Like, she's really established it. We want her. We want happiness for her.
Exactly.
Because it's clear that she's worked really hard
she's
for it.
Trying.
And
she's really
there's
trying.
Similarities between her and young Joe as well in the way they build the character, the way she says, I had him when I was 22 or whatever.
And I fucked off to go party.
And that's it. I was a selfish fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
And she's an example of making the harder choice, making the harder sacrifice to become a better person.
But not only that,
young Joe really struggles with.
Yeah, not only that, but realizing sort of what you were saying before as what I would have done, what I should have done as a younger self. Instead of going off and party, I should have stayed with him.
Yeah, exactly. I mean? And it's the awareness.
It's the awareness
and the appreciation of the regret of that.
Yeah, regret. Sorry.
And,
yeah.
100%. And
so it's her making sure that, and that's why we feel for her, even though you see in Sid's eyes, and you don't know. I don't know. It's kind of unsaid, and in my head, I think he will eventually realise. He will when he finds out that his mum is his mum. But you get the story of that Sid doesn't think that Emily Blunt is his mum, and things like that. But after that scene where she calms him down, and the first thing he says
and
is
he calls
mum,
mum,
and it's and Nicholas is bawling.
But that's and this is. I think it's a perfect example of the effectiveness of this movie because it's built believable characters that are, while being incredibly flawed, all of them are flawed characters.
Absolutely.
We want good things for them. I think we're sad that it's come to this for old Joe. Like we actually feel real like heartbreaking sadness that he's basically become the villain.
He has to become the villain in order to get
but he had the noblest of intentions, but he's gone too far.
Yeah.
And so that's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
We want young Joe to fucking
have a life with Emily Blunt.
Do the right thing. Be brave enough to make the right decision.
Yeah.
And stop being a piece of shit. And we want Emily Blunt to be able to have a happy life with her son and be the force that stops him from becoming this evil thing that he could be. Have the strength to be the mother that he needs. In order to not be the Rainmaker. And so it's amazing that this film has well, it's not amazing. It's just an example of really fucking good filmmaking. That's how we feel about these characters.
Emily Blunt, man, she does this. I think this was my first Emily Blunt movie where I was like, fuck, this she's not fucking around. She's here to stay. Like after Devil Wears Prada, where she was kind of a side character.
Yeah, I never saw that.
Well, you should totally.
Yeah,
maybe we'll do that, Tys. We'll do that.
It never seemed like it was really my
it's
thing.
Actually, look, to be honest, it's actually not that bad.
I've heard it's fun. Yeah, and Meryl Streep's always fucking cool. It's just one of those movies I just never got around to watching.
Oh no, the first thing I saw her in was Summer of Love. But apart from that, I thought, oh yeah, but it was this where I was like, fuck.
Yeah, I really like Emily Blunt. I think she's a super, super legit talent.
Yeah, man. And especially after Edge of Tomorrow.
I fucking love her in Edge of Tomorrow. She's fucking
tense,
badass, man.
Intense.
Yeah.
I'm done.
The only I've got a lot of notes, but I haven't really even spoken mostly about any of my notes really. Let's have I like the opening scene and the fact that we're just like, well, we're not fucking around when the first real sound effect or any kind of real volume is the loudest gunshot I've heard in a really long time, and it's the immediacy of it. It's our brain almost doesn't have time to process that all of a sudden someone pops up out of nowhere and this gun just blows them away.
Really blows
We're trying
them away.
to process immediately a couple of things, and it's interrupted by this massive gunshot. I loved it. Man. I loved it.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about enough Jeff Daniels. He's so fucking good in this movie. His scene where he's like, I want to talk to you about something, and I think you're gonna. And at the end of this conversation, I think you're gonna tell me where Seth is.
Either that, or I'm gonna keep talking.
Yeah, and I fucking because Jeff Daniels is the kind of guy that I want to hug and just hang out with. Yet at the same time, can be so fucking terrifying. And he does it, but he barely changes like,
no, he doesn't change anything.
He's not putting on a thing.
No.
He's not being like, I'm going to be evil now and shit. He's still just Jeff Daniels doing Jeff Daniels.
Yeah, exactly.
But fuck, he's just got this intensity in him that it's amazing. I love that scene. I love that scene so much.
Yeah, and I love, like you said before, just to throw away. Look, I'm from the future. You're going to go to China.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, believe me, go to China. I'm from the future, you fucking idiot. There is a...
Yeah.
I love the first time through the sequence where we get the montage of young Joe becoming old Joe in Japan. In China. I love the visual storytelling element of this where there's no dialogue. We're not breaking anything up. No. You say the word montage and sometimes you go, oh, montage? Really? Like a Rocky montage?
Yeah.
But it's not. It's so... it's so fucking good. It's so effective.
So effective.
And we learn every piece of information we need.
Yep.
Without a single piece of dialogue spoken.
Absolutely.
My favourite bit is the dickish smile.
The dickish
Bruce
smile.
Willis gives
it comes up and sees the girl.
When he sees her and he gives her like this drunken like, hey baby face, and she just flips him the bird. Yeah. I'm like, that is fucking great. Yeah. That's so good. Yeah. And like that whole sequence, like
I want to see that movie. Like, it makes me want to see that movie. I'm like, I want to see this. What is this?
Like the deterioration of young Joe is so well done. And what I find really interesting is that old Joe is obviously a real fucking badass, right? That young Joe will not be able to deal with, right? That's why it's believable that old Joe, who is 60, can survive as long as he does, because he's a fucking monster. Yeah, like, and you see how much of a badass he becomes by being this hitman for the fucking Chinese mafia and stuff, or for the Rainmaker. I assume he's working for the Rainmaker.
He's working for the Rainmaker.
I love that.
What is the movie? There's a movie in the, I think it was like early 2000s, where Bruce Willis had that hairstyle.
Yeah, he plays a serial killer or something, or like a bad guy in something.
What was that movie? Because I was like, did they just take that off that movie that came out that I never saw with Bruce Willis in, that I'm trying to find now but can't?
You keep searching.
It was 2000 after 2003. I'm pretty sure it wasn't 2000s. It couldn't have been 2000s.
Yeah, probably not. But I fucking... You're
Do you
right,
remember?
though. I feel like I've seen that hair before. Because I remember I've seen
the hair, the long hair, but it wasn't black. It was like
Isn't there a movie where he plays like... Oh, my God. I can see it in my head.
Is it The Surrogates?
Surrogates.
No, he's bald. Is it that?
No, but he plays like...
Doesn't he play another character?
Of him in it, I think.
Hang on, wait.
Maybe not. Surrogates was a weird movie. That's a weird movie. Yeah.
I didn't see it.
How have I seen that movie? I
love it when people see this. I love people say,
he's got a weird like ponytail in Bandits. Maybe that's what it is.
No, it's not Bandits. It was a futuristic one. The cover made me think of, what was that Arnie movie that The Sixth Day?
Oh no, he's got it in the fucking Jackal.
I've seen that
movie. Yeah, he's got gross hair in the Jackal.
Yeah. No, but it's not long like that.
It
weird,
isn't it?
No. It was another one, I'm pretty sure.
No, because he dresses, because in the Jackal he wears like weird he's got like fucking secret disguises, and one of the disguises is a gross long wig. Yeah. Almost certain.
All right. We'll go with that.
But I've seen it before. Yeah, you're right.
Makes me want to watch The Saint. Remember that, Val Kilmer?
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe I'm thinking of Val Kilmer and The Saint, because he's got a dirty wig in that too.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's all about dirty wigs here on NIC Tys and Videotape.
Yeah, we like dirty wigs.
So, God, this is there was weird things that I wanted to say. Okay, let's talk about this.
Oh.
There's a constant motif of the ticking of clocks in this. And yes, it could just be time travel.
Yeah.
But what I think it's trying to do, I think it's because it stops when young Joe has actually done something good. I think it is like a metaphor for guilt, having not achieved anything of any worth.
Good. Yeah, I agree with you.
I think it's like the idea that he has this constant timer in his head saying that you only have so long to not be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And that
really,
it's like the constant reminder for him that he is on a clock. that if he wants, because this is what I'm talking about with all the saving the bars, wanting to go to Paris. He wants to be a better person. He wants to get out of that life.
Tell he can.
He has that drive, but he doesn't have the courage to step away and make the brave choice. Yeah. And I think the ticking is his subconscious reminding him, you only have so long to make that choice. You need to make it at some point. Because I love how it just stops at the end after he's shot himself.
So true.
Or as soon as he makes because it creeps back in as he's having that talk about, I see what happens now. I see this. I see the pain. I feel the pain. You see the ticking. It gets louder. It's louder. And then he says, and then I made the decision to stop it. It stops. He turns the gun around. I think as soon as he makes the choice to finally do something brave to be a better person, it stops. Yeah. I love it.
That's so
I fucking loved it.
It's very nice.
What else have we got? Hey, so this is really funny because now Ryan is doing The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
I see similarities between Kid Blue and Kylo Ren.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Which is really, because that's when I was watching it this time, I was actually like, oh my God, it's similar. Because I love how Kylo Ren was presented in The Force Awakens as a spoilt brat of a piece of shit little kid.
I love that. You don't have any control, you little shit.
And he's like a cranky child who has his toys taken away.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about Kid Blue. Yeah. And what I love about both of them is that they are still, even though they're almost, like, obviously much more so for Kylo Ren, but even though they are still like a joke, essentially, because it's like they're just spoiled little fucking shits, they are they're dangerous.
Fuck yeah.
And that it's almost like that our laughing at them.
Yeah.
We don't laugh as much as Kylo Ren, but we do see that real kind of, he's threatening only because he has this power. He doesn't actually present a threatening front.
No, of course not. He needs the mask to have
he needs the mask, 100%.
He needs the mask. Yeah.
And so with that kind of, it's almost like because we find them non-threatening because they are just spoiled little shits, they're almost more dangerous because they know that we don't take them seriously.
Exactly. So they're almost willing to push the bar to the point where, well, you don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Well,
you don't know what I'm fucking capable of.
Calm down, you little shit. And then they go, they try and prove themselves.
So I found that there was kind of weird similarities between the two, which I think is interesting because I think Ryan has obviously done a very good job of representing that in Kid Blue. Yeah. And so I'm really interested to see how he drives that through Kylo, because we're going to see Kylo Ren going off with Snoke now, training, but he's not just suddenly going to be...
No, you want to see...
Well, he's still going to be a bratty
He's still going to not have any control. Yeah. He's still going to be... No, I want to be really cool.
Exactly. So I'm really
interested
to see that.
Vader.
I want to see the elements of Snoke kind of basically telling him, shut your fucking mouth, you shitbag.
You may be like the Hayden Christensen Darth Vader, but you will never be...
exactly.
You'll never be James Earl.
James Earl Jones for you,
James Earl Jones.
And look, I love that there's just... When you sit down to watch this movie and you think you're going to watch like a time travel action film, and you are presented with characters that are so different from anything you will get in in a typical, so much more layered, so much more dense.
The time travel is sort of secondary to the story that's being told.
Yeah,
like
100%.
You said, and I do love the fact that because these characters are so flawed, we want to like them so much.
It's not even that we want to like them, it's we want satisfaction for them. I don't like...
You don't like
young
them?
Joe or old Joe. I don't think I like them. I think I want them... I want happiness for them because they want it so badly. They want... And because they're flawed, they're human.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't... Just because I want everyone to be...
There is a moment for me in that middle section where... I'm wanting Bruce Willis to do something. And I forgot how much it affects when I knew he was going, oh yeah, he's going to kill kids at this point. And then you see it, and it's the way that Ryan shoots it, where you see this little kid come home from school.
Yeah, it's pretty
it's
pretty brutal the way it's like...
it's fucked. You don't see anything, and you don't need to see anything. And he's just standing there, and he goes to put his key in the door, and then he turns around, and then there's Bruce Willis with a gun, and it's the distance that Bruce Willis is. He's not up close. It's not intimidating. No. He's there, and he's...
He makes us watch the walk.
Yeah.
I think that's a very deliberate choice. He makes us watch Bruce Willis make the choice.
Yeah.
He's standing at the edge. He could turn around, but he makes us watch him take the steps towards the kid.
Does he kill a second kid?
No, he's gone from the room. So Kid Blue
sets
him up, basically.
But then, because of that... Oh, sorry. I just I just filled my own hole. I was like, well, why did he not kill? Why did he not kill him? Nicky, he saw what happened.
Can we just have a fucking moment for that? Say, I just filled my own hole.
She's like,
that's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And that's a good setup too, because Piper Parabo or whatever, she plays it well as well.
She plays it really well.
She does the whole, no, don't, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, blah, blah, he's going to kill the kid again. The one thing that's weird is that he sits with that door open for a long time before he gets zapped. Because he just sits there and kind of ponders.
He's waiting for the light to come on.
Yeah.
It was a bit too,
anyway, But that's for that fucking Rainmaker moment when you finally realise why he was called the Rainmaker. Because he tears your blood out of you and makes it like rain.
Yeah. That little kid does.
Well, that's what I assume anyway.
One of the most beautiful.
That kid's fucking great. What a good actor.
Fuck. He has such. And watching the makings, Ryan talks about how that kid could do a full 6 pages straight.
Yeah, right.
And not cut away. And he
does.
So good.
He's the perfect kind of kid where his intensity is confusing to a viewer.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of like, what's your deal?
What are you doing?
Like, what is that all about? And he actually puts you on edge because you don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah.
He's got and like I love the sequence where he's falling down the stairs. And everything comes together at once. And young Joe goes to catch him and she's like, no,
we're going to get out of the house.
We're going to get the fuck out of here. And I love...
Joe's face when he drops. He's like, the fuck are we doing?
And the guy that plays the Gap Man in that, who I really like, I can't remember his name right now. He's a really cool actor. He pops up in supporting roles a lot and I'm always a big fan of him.
He's good, isn't he?
There's just the subtle manipulation, I think, with his face. You can see as he starts to scream... you see like slight contortion, like he gets a little pale and some veins kind of just appear so slightly. And you just in your head, you're like, oh my God, something fucked up is about to happen. Something really fucked up is about to happen. And then the sound just drops and this blood just starts pouring out of him.
How good is silence used in this movie?
Oh God. Yeah. So good. Fuck. So effective. So incredibly effective.
So good. And you see small, like little Sid with just covered in blood and he doesn't know what's happened. He knows what's happened, but it's happened again.
And it's heartbreaking, the moment where he finds him in the cornfield and he just leans on young Joe's leg, and it dawns on him that it's like, fuck, this kid just needs
help.
He just needs someone. He needs, and that's when, that for me is when it really clicks for him that he needs what I didn't have. He needs what young Joe didn't have. Yeah, exactly. He needs a mother. Where he needs to say, you know what? He just needs.
You're going to be fine.
I had Abe, because I like the line about I gave you something you already had, or
I gave you something you never had. I put a gun in your hand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I gave you something that was already yours. He said, and that's a different, like that's saying that the nature and nurture argument is irrelevant. It's like young Joe was always going to end up a scumbag who blew people away for life for a living. Yeah. Whereas it's not. That kid's not always going to become the Rainmaker. If he's taught love, if he's taught, if
he stays with his mum,
if he's taught how to be a good person by his mum, and he doesn't, and he has that kind of that
upbringing, that beautiful,
that nurturing
upbringing.
He doesn't have to end up that way.
So true.
And I think that's the moment Joe realizes that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Looper.
We could just keep going for hours in this movie because it is really dense. I'd love to hear what everyone thinks about this movie.
Garrett Dillahunt, that's the guy's name.
Yeah, he's cool. He pops up in a bunch of stuff, and how was I ever going to remember that
12 Years a Slave, No Country. He's done tons of shit.
Yeah, and like lots of TV work as well. I feel.
Deadwood.
Yes,
I've never seen Deadwood. I would like to watch Deadwood.
Blu-ray's up there if you want to borrow the DVDs.
I'm neck deep in West Wing right now.
Oh, good. What are you up to?
I'm just about 3/4 through 3rd season.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So Mark Harmon.
I've actually the last episode that I watched, which I can tell you which one it was.
Yeah.
Was the first episode where I went, wow, that episode didn't do anything for me, and that's the first one to do.
Interesting.
So 3 seasons. That's a long stint for that to happen.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But
see, you get to a point though where sometimes a lot of the episodes are just kind of like, here's us dealing with some kind of political thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes, they're not always as... I think I will always enjoy hanging out with those people. But you're right. Sometimes I'll watch an episode and go, oh, well, that was fun. Yeah. And then I'll immediately want to watch another one, though, because I want to get the feels.
The episode was episode 12, The Two Butlets, so it didn't really do anything for me. The one thing I did want to say, which I was really looking forward to when I started this series, especially with a writer like Aaron Sorkin, was what happens in the real world when this series aired was that 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
Fuck. And they did I was like, oh my God, this writing is going to completely change.
And they did that Isaac and Ishmael episode.
Beautiful episode.
Which is basically out of the timeline, but it's just like a theoretical discussion about the world of terrorism and what,
which I loved how
we approach it.
All the characters came forward, or all the actors, came forward before the episode and talked a bit. And
it's really cool.
It was such a good.
Anyway, Looper,
well done.
I'd love to hear what people think of this film. Yeah. So give us an email, nicktysonvideotape@gmail.com. Right on the Facebook page when the thing comes up, because I feel like this is a movie where there is a lot of meat in it. There's a lot of thematic material. Yes. There's a lot of stuff where you can say, oh, by the way, this bit and this bit, I think it was saying this. Yeah. And I'd be like, fuck yeah.
Even with Kid Blue, there was a storyline happening with him that you didn't really see with him with Jeff Daniels, and there's kind of a little backstory there. They don't really go into, but there's still something there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I do agree.
Yeah, and I think this, Tell
us what you think.
This movie is polarizing, because I know there are a lot of people that can't get past its time travel paradoxes, and for them it kind of ruins the film and I guess I can't argue with that if that's how you want to approach these kind of films.
Sure.
If obviously that is just how you see them. I'm more interested in the other side of this kind of film. So let's have those kind of discussions. Yeah. I'm not interested in someone saying,
but what about this,
What about this? It would never happen because of this in time travel. I'm like, yeah, that's okay. That's, I tend to see it. I will forgive it that, because that's not the biggest point for me.
Fair deal.
I reckon that'll wrap us up.
That sounds good.
So why don't we cross some streams? I can't do it.
No,
I can't do it.
We're out of guts, and it's too early for that shit. To be honest.
There's no way I've got a head voice.
It's almost lunchtime.
Oh no, I can get up there. That's okay.
No, do a low one. Do a low one.
Oh, I could do like a...
Do a low...
Crossing the streams.
Oh, nice. There you go. Yeah, scary.
I can't do that shit.
I like it.
I'm useless. All right.
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'm going to pick something that's on Stan. It's we're about 3 weeks away from October, Nicholas.
Shh.
You know what that means? It's time to start watching some scary movies.
Time to watch some scary movies.
And as a primer, I treat this as like a primer,
right? To
get yourself in the mood, for some horror movies. We're going to start with one that's a bit of a middle of the road. Okay. It's a good one for newbies that don't like horror, or like people like me who maybe just want to ease into it a little bit. This is a good place to start.
Ease it in.
This is This is a movie from 1998. On Stan, you'll find this. It is called The Faculty.
Yeah, man. Robert Rodriguez. Fuck yeah.
Who is a bit of a genre legend. This is his kind of jump into
a bit of Hollywood, I feel.
Yeah, look, it happened around a very particular time. Like this is the era of disturbing behavior and Halloween H2O and things like that, where you could make
and teaching Mrs. Tingle.
Yeah, that's it. You could make a kind of relatively high budget horror sci-fi teen movie.
It was a teen movie
with all the hottest young stars.
Yeah, man.
And it would actually be pretty successful.
Yeah.
The Faculty was pretty successful.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had that DVD for years. It's one of the first
same.
DVDs I owned, I reckon, because it was like when you were like, I'm going to build my DVD collection.
The Faculty
has
to be in it.
I've got to get The Faculty. I fucking love The Faculty.
Love The Faculty.
So yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen this,
John Stewart is one of the teachers.
Yeah, that's awesome. And fucking T1000 himself, Robert Patrick.
Yeah, man.
It's like, I would imagine that there would be quite a few people that haven't seen this, because it would have slipped through that kind of
cracks.
late 90s cracks a little bit.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like a sci-fi horror. It's a bit Invasion of the Body Snatchers-esque. It's about a bunch of teachers at a high school start to behave strangely, leading a certain group of students to believe that they have been have their bodies infected by aliens.
Yeah.
And so, basically a group not dissimilar to the Breakfast Club put themselves together and decide to fight back against the now alien teachers.
Yeah. Killer soundtrack.
Great soundtrack, yeah. Like, but super 90s, but in that wonderful way. And like, you know, cast that you would recognise. Josh Hartnett is kind of the bad boy. You've got Elijah Wood in there as the kind of the nerdy kid.
Yeah.
Jordana Brewster of Fast and Furious
That's
fame.
true, yep.
Is like one of the love interests. You've got Claire Duvall, who always pops up in stuff around this era, and is really great. Like always as a character, she's a character actress.
Now.
And there's some of like I said, some of the teachers. You also got like Famke Janssen from X-Men. It's really fun, really fun, and it's a great way to ease yourself into kind of getting in the zone for horror movies, because there's some jumps to it, there's some scary bits to it, but most of the time it's more like a ride. This kind of film, you're in it for the fun, not for the scares, really. And so it gets you in a good mood for October, which is only 3 weeks away.
Should we ask our lovely audiences to give us a buy request now, or maybe
let's do that at the end.
We'll do that at the end. Yeah. All right. Well, my one is going in line with the theme of today. I was going to try
and find a time travel one and didn't.
Oh, well, it's a little different. Mine is Brick on SBS On Demand,
have we not,
which I did not know was on there.
Have we not recommended that before?
No, we haven't.
Okay, good.
No.
That's helpful.
If anyone hasn't seen, you actually can't buy this in Australia right now.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah, which absolutely fucking sucks.
Yeah, that sucks.
But if you haven't seen Brick, I definitely recommend it.
It's a hard recommend.
It's a hard recommend. So it's just taking what we talked about before, taking the hard-boiled detective of neo-noir and of a hard-boiled detective trying to solve a crime, but putting it in a high school setting, which is totally amazing and totally great spin on it. It has great story, surprising spin on the cliches of noir. Yeah. So you've got your femme fatale, which is kind of the mean girl, you would say, maybe.
Sure.
You've got the crime boss. You've got the henchmen of the crime boss, which are the bullies and everything like that. It's such a great film, and it has one of the things that I remember I saw this at the cinema at Nova at I think it was 10:30 at night.
Oh yeah,
me and the lady I was seeing at the time, she's like, "Why do you always get to pick the movies?" I'm like, "How about this? How about we watch 10 minutes of this, and if it's shit, because I knew it was going to be awesome. Because if it's shit, we'll walk. We'll literally get out of here." She's like, "All right." 15 minutes in, I turned to her and said, "Do you want to leave?" She said, "Shut up, you're an asshole."
Of course. So, it is.
Such a good movie.
It's super. Yeah, God, it's so engaging. Within 10 minutes, you're knee deep in this mystery anyway. So you would never want to turn it off after starting to watch this film. It's funny how it is such a jarring clash of tones though, but somehow works so effectively, because it's like the dialogue is also
he makes his own language. He has his own language, so you kind of have to keep up with it, which is so refreshing and
good.
But
it's kind of very typical of the noir setting is that it's the language is kind of mob-ish. You know? It's like everything's got nicknames and slang terms and things like that, and that works really effectively. But then you're looking at a teen setting, and so it's all really jarring, and it takes a little while to adjust to. But once you're in it, it's so great.
Such a good movie. So SBS On Demand.
Cool.
Give
it a watch. It's really great. Well, that's going to wrap us up.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen.
So yes, as we were mentioning before, in preparation for we're going to be doing some cool stuff during October. We've got a couple of ideas, but one thing we wanted to do is we wanted to definitely make sure that we could dedicate one of our episodes to our buy request section.
Yes.
We will have another buy request coming up very shortly, I would think, but we might get one in before October.
I think we'll get one in before October.
But for October, we would love to do a buy request horror movie.
Yes.
So
we'll do posts about it, but if you do have anything that you have in mind, anything that you think
if there's a horror movie you'd like to hear us talk about, maybe try and steer away from the big franchises if you can, because we have an idea where we want to kind of tackle franchises in some way. We're thinking about that. But
chuck anything. You don't have to name one. Name 10.
Yeah, give us a bunch of horror movies you'd love to hear us talk about.
Even, top 5, top 10, top 3. Do your favourite horror movies and tell us to pick one and why.
Yeah, and so, there'll be a couple of special episodes during October. We might even do more than our regular just once a week in order to kind of celebrate the wonder that is October, where I, force myself to watch horror movies as much as humanly possible. And kind of wish I was an American.
Yeah.
This is the month of the year where I just wish I lived in America so that I could enjoy
the whole
celebration.
The whole town gets in on it. Do you know what's my favourite? Do you know in my street where I live?
Yeah.
The street behind me and the street in front of me all do Halloween.
That's awesome.
There are so many. I had to. So the first year we moved into this street, I had to do like up and back from the shops. I'd run out of so many lollies. There was so many kids on the streets.
That's cool.
And it was so beautiful. My favorite was she was like a little 4-year-old who came up. She was just fine. She had a little bit of a bloody nose, but she was carrying the scariest severed head I'd ever seen.
Oh, that's cool.
It was so cute.
That's really cute.
But
yeah, because, I
know, we miss out, don't we?
We do miss out because, like, I understand. I get the argument that it's just a corporate kind of thing.
So is Valentine's Day, you fucking morons.
It's also, like, it's a celebration of... a form of storytelling that appeals to a lot of people.
Yeah. Everyone loves to be scared.
Everyone and a lot of what we really like is kind of our ideas that kind of were germinated through the horror kind of conventions. Yeah. Weird characters, supernatural characters.
Hell
like you can't say that
you haven't liked at least
superhero movies don't share a lot of DNA with horror movie characters because they're supernaturally enhanced people.
Yeah.
Generally. And, obviously in certain
even
ways.
if there isn't, there's got to be one vampire movie out there that you like.
Yeah, and this, it's sad that we can't celebrate that kind of stuff here, that we don't really get into it as much because I just love it. I think it's so much fun and getting dressed up and should
have seen how rad I did normally our street, they give out balloons, but for some reason they've missed my house twice. I think I don't know why. Maybe
maybe they don't like
me. So I was like, babe, we didn't get our balloon to put out the front. That's how the kids know to come to your house. So instead, I knew I had fake cobwebs somewhere,
cool.
So I wrapped that around my letterbox, and
nice.
Boss. It was so fucking
awesome.
Boss.
Well, this is, while the rest of Australia won't celebrate, we'll be celebrating on Nick Tys and Videotape. We'll be doing some special episodes. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you want to get your Halloween kick, you can get it from us during October.
Yes.
But before then, we've got a couple of episodes before then. Next week, Nicholas.
Ooh, what are we doing?
We are doing We Rank Stuff Volume 3.
3!
The return of We Rank Stuff, one of our most popular series.
Hell yeah.
We're going to be doing a top 10.
Oh, a top 10.
A top 10 of a year.
Of a year?
Yeah. So
what year would that year be?
If you go back maybe 15 or so episodes, 10 or so episodes, you will see we've got a We Rank Stuff Best of 1999, which was a special episode co-hosted by our good friend Jemima.
Yep.
This episode. Where we will be tackling...
What year?
2004.
Oh!
So, in case we're just picking random years. That's the whole point. We're not going to do it chronologically or anything like that.
No.
We just want to pick general years and have a good chat about
Literally out of the bag. Tyson has a bag in front of him and picked it out.
I did.
Yeah.
I picked it out of a hat.
Yeah, picked it out of a hat.
Yes.
Yes.
We'll be talking our top 10 films of 2004.
Yeah, man.
We haven't even looked to see what movies came out in 2004.
It could be a shit year.
It could be a rubbish year.
It could be a hard top 10.
Yeah, it could be really tough trying to put, we might get to 8 and then just be like, I don't know,
fucking
whatever, let's go in there.
Whatever.
But yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun next week. You'll see they tend to be really fun episodes. So if you've got anything you want to add to that discussion before we have it, don't forget to jump on the Facebook.
Absolutely.
Or on our Twitter.
Yes.
Nick,
we are on the Facebook. We are on the Twitter. We have just recently, Tyson, uploaded a shitload to
Our YouTube video channel has just gone off chops. You can finally track and listen to every past episode on YouTube, if that is your preferred method. All 32 episodes.
Or if that's where you wish to comment.
Or you can comment on that, because I'm sure we're going to get that's where we're going to get fuckwits talking about loop of time travel.
Yeah.
Because YouTube comment section is
horrible.
Never a horrible place to
Never
be.
go there.
But yeah, if that's the way you like to listen to your podcasts, you can now jump on. Feel free to subscribe on that. If we get to a certain amount of subscribers, we actually get the / Nick Tys Videotape domain name at YouTube.
Oh, yeah,
You're not allowed, you don't actually get that until you get a certain amount of subscriptions. So that would help us out a bunch.
That would be huge.
Don't forget to rate and review us on iTunes.
Yeah,
we love seeing that. I'm loving all the 5-star ratings.
Yeah, it's been great. Thank you so much, everyone.
If you want to email us, nicktysonvideotape@gmail.com. I think
that's it. I think that's it.
Join in for our chat about 2004 next week.
Tune in next week.
I'll see you then, Nick.
Okay, everyone. I'm going to say goodbye, and Tyson's going to die slowly. Bye, Tys. Bye, buddy. Bye.